Just keep it real.
Oh, it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be a day. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
It's gonna be a day.
Don't make any sense. Slow down a second, it's making you tense. When I be talking, just don't interrupt. I say the truth, you get salty
at
for
least
what? Give me
I
an
look fresh
argument,
as
not an
F.
assertion. I'm almost convinced that you're not a real person. Why are you galloping? What do you gish? Topic
Look
to
at that
topic, you
cleanup.
flop like a fish. Say what you're meaning while being concise. Still
You
got my
look
taco, I
great.
ain't leaving Christ. Linda, just listen, get wrecked by a Christian. I think you might have a special condition. I debate all of you Muslim and atheists, witches and wizards and new ages. I roll with Jesus, you still get defeated. You won't change my mind even if you repeat it. Just keep it real.
I did not make this song. It was made by Walk
Tell
with
me
the
how
Spirit.
you feel. Convince me when the time cold. Just keep it real. Big John still. Tell me how you feel. Convince me when the time cold. Jesus is king. Big John still. Jesus is king. Big John still. Give me some logic, I just wanna know why you so toxic, bro. I'm on a roll. You wanna troll me, I'm shutting you down. I be too busy to suffer a clown. Say that you hold a position.
You know what we need?
Linda, I know you don't listen. Let's
We're gonna steal something from the Crucible.
if you come in bad faith, don't say that I mean, I say what I mean. I'm showing love, but
I
you
don't know
wait
what
for
that
the
is.
thief. You run away, you afraid or you weak. Bro, I don't play, I can make them retreat. You choose a deceit, ain't making me nervous. For those that I reach, I've been living my purpose. This ain't at all about the money. Money. Trying to lift up the soul of his gummity.
I might get demonetized for this.
How you feel?
We might. I'll just remove this part of the video if we do.
Tell me how you feel.
Hold up,
Yes.
hold up, hold up,
Chills.
hold up. Ready?
Jesus is king. John still.
I need one of these of my own, but Why are we listening to Return of the King? I just need to get psyched up for this day, man. I need to get psyched. I needed something to pump me up for this day, for dealing with this nonsense. As soon as we click go live on the shorts, we're going to get the crazies in. That's what's going to happen. All right, today's topic. Well, hold on. Let's pray before we log off. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this blessing. Thank you for all that you provide. I ask that you take this live and do with it as you will. We put it into your hands, Lord, that you make it fruitful, that you use it to draw people into your kingdom, and that you allow the Holy Spirit to move through us and do what is right and good in your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Today's topic is, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco. It's simple. Simple. If you want to join, I forgot to change that. It's Big John Steel 8, but I don't know. There's always something I forget. But look, because Abby does most of the work now.
You made a spelling mistake.
Where?
You need to fix it before they come in.
Where?
Christianity. You put an I in there. You see? The beginning, after the H.
What?
After the H. There's no I.
Oh. Wait.
I would get roasted for not.
In which part?
After the H.
No, but in this one or this one?
The banner.
The banner. Oh, okay. I was so confused there because I'm like, this one doesn't have that issue. Yeah, okay. Christianity.
I always get roasted if I don't spell check you, so.
You get roasted?
Yeah.
Why do you get roasted?
I don't know. I guess because I'm your assistant.
Oh. All right. So if you think Christianity is a fairy tale, or if you just think it's wrong in general, you can join me at tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 8, password 12345, or you can join on the multi-guest button if you're watching on TikTok. If you're not planning on joining, please make sure you smash the like button a whole bunch of times and share and do all those things. Abby, click go live on the shorts.
Are you recording? Shannon wants to know. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We are recording. Thank you, Shannon.
Come on in.
Come on in. Come on in. We just opened up the floodgates. That's where happiness goes to die now. Used to be TikTok.
This is
now
like
it's
that
shorts.
movie I was quoting, but I didn't want to say the thing, so.
Which movie?
The one that scared me half to death. That's why I said that. That's what I think of now.
Oh yeah. Come on in, mother truckers. That was so gangster.
My favorite part.
That was so gangster.
That horrible movie.
Thoughts on Dean? I don't know anymore, bro. I was fine with Dean, but now he's doing some sus things. I tried to get up and he was live yesterday, and I tried to get up and have a conversation with him, but his queue was too long and I never got up. So, didn't happen. It is what it is. It is what it is. According to the Bible, this entire life is a fairy tale. Reality is what happens after we die. Yeah, fair, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Guys, pray for today's live. Pray for me. This is it. Like, as soon as we start getting folks in, it's going to be a struggle. It's assuming maybe God will bless us. We'll get no guests, and we'll just. What happened?
Not a blessing.
What happened with Dean? He doxed the guy. He doxed the guy for like a wild take. And I wanted to get up. I just want to see what his viewpoints on children and consenting. And because I don't know, he hasn't clarified, or at least I haven't seen him clarified. And so I want to get up, have a conversation, but I can't get up.
Money.
Yeah, my beard grows super fast, bro. All my hair grows super fast. Like the haircut I got, like I went in, buddy's like, whoa, this is a lot. It was like 2 months of growth. That's all it was. That's the reason I go like bald on the side, because like then I don't have to get a haircut next week. Feels like I'm flexing on my hair, but no, I hate it. It's like, happy Friday, y'all. Who won the taco? Well, no, listen, guys, that's not how it works. And there's some people that seem to be thinking that lately. I've been noticing that if I concede a point, that doesn't concede the whole idea. And that doesn't mean they win a taco. It's not how it works. Oh, John admitted that 2 + 2 is 4 because that guy said 2 + 2 = 4. Give him his taco. I kind of wish they called Christianity the kingdom like Jesus did. They labeled us. We didn't label ourselves. Christianity says the Almighty Creator committed blah blah blah. Here is enough evidence. It's a fairy tale. What? Why don't you come up and let's have a conversation about it? To join is tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteel8. Password 12345. 12345. Have I ever given out a taco? Not yet. I actually do want to give out a taco. Because some topics are like, you know, there is a way to do it. This one I don't think you can. But yeah. I just had a taco. It was really good. There's also a big emphasis on that word prove. There's a lot is weighing on that word prove there. You may even win an argument to the point where I don't know, but you got to prove it. You got to prove it unequivocally.
Somebody wants you to trim your beard because they're jealous.
Listen, can you all leave me alone? If I shave my beard, oh my God, you should shave your beard. You need to grow. If I grow my beard, you need to trim your beard. Listen, it's my face. My face, not your face. The only one's got to say about what happens to my face is her. Not you. I don't even know you. Who said it, by the way?
Romanian car thief.
And he's a car thief. My goodness. And he's Romanian? You can't grow a beard? That bro. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? What did I spell wrong?
I'm over 40. I'm magical. How are you doing?
I'm good. What did I spell wrong? Somebody said I spelled something. If Christianity's a fairy tale, prove it. I think someone's messing with me. Abby, can you check, see if I got a spelling mistake?
I don't think so.
Did you check the shorts too?
No.
All right, man. If Christianity's a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
Okay, good. I'm going to paint a picture real quick. What would one gain or profit from worshiping Jesus or following Jesus?
Eternal life.
Great. Are you a sinner?
Yeah.
Was Jesus a sinner?
No.
What about Satan?
What about who?
I apologize. My phone rang. When I said, is Satan a sinner? Is Satan a sinner?
I'd assume so, yeah.
Okay, great. So if I took a 10-foot wall and on the left side I wrote sin and on the right side I wrote no sin, and I told everybody to line up where they fell in place, you would fall right behind Satan, making your Christianity a fairy tale because you really don't follow Jesus because he's sinless, and you follow Satan, the sinner.
So doesn't make it a fairy tale. That just makes me somebody who is not being the
But you're
best
claiming
Christian.
to follow Jesus. You're claiming to follow Jesus, and yet you truly follow Satan. That's a fairy tale.
Okay, even if that was true, how does that make it a fairy tale?
Taco now. I'm a vegan. I'll take my vegan taco, please.
How does it make it a fairy tale?
Because you believe that you're following Christ, and you're lying, saying that you're following Christ when you're actually following Satan. That's a fairy tale. You follow Satan in sin. You're a Satanist.
But even if I did follow Satan, even if that was true,
It makes Christianity a fairy tale.
how does that logically make Christianity a fairy tale?
You
Because
claim
that would because
Christianity claims to follow
hold on,
Christ.
let me explain. Your argument in itself disproves
You asked
your
me a
argument.
question and you
Hold
want
on,
me to
hold
answer
on,
the
hold on,
question or
hold on,
not?
hold on, hold on. Your
Okay, so
argument
you don't
is
want to answer the question, you want a monologue.
hold on.
Okay,
Your
monologue,
argument,
please.
hold on. Your argument in itself disproves itself because it presupposes Christianity to be true.
Well, that's your claim, but you follow Satan and claim to be a Christian. That's a fairy tale.
Okay,
Whoopsie.
hold on. How can I follow Satan if it's a fairy tale?
Because so you're saying that Christians are really Satan worshipers?
No,
that would
that's
be
not
a
what I
fairy
said.
tale.
Hold on.
Y'all
How
say
can
that
I follow
Christians- wait,
if
hold on.
okay.
Did Satan go to heaven or hell?
It's a simple logic.
Did Satan
right?
go to heaven or hell?
Hold on. It's my turn. Right? If
you're
Christianity
gonna dodge-
hold on. If Christianity is a fairy tale, is Satan real?
Say again? Satan is a title, so yes, the opposer is real. No matter whether Christianity is a fairy tale or not, the title Satan, the opposer, still stands.
So then who am I following if he's not actually real?
You follow the opposer. You don't follow your
Who's he
fairy tale
opposing?
Jesus because it doesn't exist.
Who's he opposing?
I don't. So again, what happened? When Satan
Who
failed?
is he
did go to
opposing?
Hold on. Did Satan go to heaven or hell?
Wait, hold on. Is he real then?
Did Satan go to heaven or hell?
Is he real? Because if he's not real, no one went to heaven or hell. If he is real,
the question. It's kind of like you're running.
it's a clarifying question.
You keep at no, it's not. The
Is he
opposer
re-
is
is
real.
he
We've already
real?
determined that. The opposer is real. Yes, an opposer.
Okay,
is real.
so if he's real, if Satan is real, then he's not a fairy
So-
tale, right?
Again, wait, hold on. Wait a second. Just because, okay, so if Harry Potter was real,
Hold on.
a person,
Wait
hold
a
on. If a
second.
person named Harry Potter was real, would that mean that the book Harry Potter was real? Absolutely not.
No. But that's the
Absolutely
question I'm
not. So
asking
just
you. The
because you
question
have
I'm
somebody,
asking you. Question
so
I'm
just
asking you.
because you have somebody, listen, you
Is
keep
Satan
talk.
actually real?
You're triggered. You're triggered. Okay, the title opposer can be
He's triggered.
asserted onto anybody that
I'm
opposes.
triggered?
He is. Yes, you are.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
you dodged my question.
Doesn't
You
seem
started
like it to
asking
me, bro.
multiple questions. Well, really? Did he answer my question?
Are you the guy that made that video
Hold on.
about me? You are
No,
too.
I don't make videos about. No, I did not make a video
Yes,
about you.
you are. You literally
No,
are.
I'm not.
I'm
Please
looking
go
at
to
your
my
profile
page.
picture.
You're a liar. Please go to my
You
page. I have not made
you
a
did
video
it on
about you.
YouTube.
You're a liar. I don't have a YouTube account. You're a liar.
Well, then you and that other guy have the same kind of crazy eyes.
Okay. So now everybody's crazy because we disprove your Christianity. Okay, so you
No.
make up fallacious lies about me. So who's triggered? You just made up a lie and claimed that I made a video about you.
Well,
You're
okay.
a liar.
Guys, go look at his
You're a
profile
liar.
picture and tell me if he has crazy
Please.
eyes.
Oh,
See if I'm lying.
So now I have crazy eyes. So now you're going to deflect and wait. Somebody told you to shave your beard a while ago, and you got all upset about it. Now you're telling me I have crazy eyes.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're allowed to get
that's
upset
fine.
about that, which you seem to be.
A second. Would your Jesus have personally attacked me like that? Absolutely not.
Yeah, he called a woman a dog.
No, absolutely
Called a
not.
bunch of
Why?
guys a
Wait,
brood
hold
of
on. All
vipers and
because I asked
snakes.
a question. Wait, all because I asked you a question. All I
Yeah,
did was ask you
same.
a
Came in
question.
with $2. Says Jeff 2 Electric Boogaloo.
All I did was ask you a question, and you started attacking me.
I didn't attack
You
you. I
just
just said
showed
you
your
have
mouth.
crazy eyes.
Yes, you did. That's an attack. That's a personal attack on me.
Not if it's true.
Wait, hold on. What? Just because you say it doesn't make it true.
Correct. But if it is
That's your
true, then
opinion. So
then
how
it's
can your
not an
opinion be
attack.
true? Wait, hold on. That's your opinion, and you're personally attacking me with your opinion because you live in fairy tale land. You follow Satan.
Okay, if Satan is a fairy tale, how can I follow him?
Again, the title opposer always still stands. So you follow the opposer. The title
opposer.
Satan
So
was before.
hold on,
You're
hold
going
on.
to tell me that Satan.
Does the opposer
Wait, the
have
title Satan
does the
existed
opposer
before
does the
Christianity.
opposer have
Hold on. Hold on.
does the opposer have
Did the
ontolo- does the opposer have
Let
ontological does
me
the
ask you a
oppo
question.
does the
Let me
oppo
ask you a question.
does the
Oh my God.
opposer have
So
ontological
was there a word called
properties?
Satan prior to Christianity?
Moving on.
So he's saying because Satan sins and we sin that we follow Satan. So like
Therefore, our Christianity's false.
if you go rock climbing and I go rock climbing, does that mean I follow you?
Fair. That's a good point. That's actually a good point. And also, just in the question itself doesn't prove or disprove anything, because if you follow Satan, you're presupposing Satan's real, and therefore Christianity is not a fairy tale. Now, that doesn't necessarily. Now, you can follow an idea of Satan that isn't real, but that doesn't prove or disprove Christianity to be true or false if you follow Satan. As a matter of fact, there's more evidence that it's true. Style and Real Woodworking came in with $2. Says, this is your brain on veganism. All right, guys.
Also-
If you want to join the conversation, it's tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteel8, password 12345. Please make sure you're smashing the like button, sharing the live. We don't have anybody in the queue right now. It might be a blessed day. Blessed day of peace. Wait, what were you going to say, Abby?
Him, like you talking normally, calmly, and then him, you're just triggered. I'm like, whoa, calm down.
I didn't insult. The guy literally has crazy eyes. Go look. I'm not just saying. I mean, he came in and started on the whole, you follow Satan stuff. And me, I'm like, you got crazy eyes. And everybody's like, you're insulting him. What? I'm sorry? What? How does that work? It's always, it's okay if the person you agree with insults. But if the person you disagree with insults, that's not okay.
Hi there.
Hello. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 27. I'm 27.
All right, bro.
Sorry about the background.
If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
Yeah, I wouldn't say fairy tale, but I would say it's a mythology among other mythologies. It can be useful mythology. It can be great.
Okay,
But
prove it.
mythology nonetheless, because it is a historical religion. That's what I believe. It is a historical. When I say since writing started in Mesopotamia, we started with the Enuma Elish, that is the first writing in history. Just like Christianity, they had their own understanding of
Right, these are
the
just
house.
claims. Do you have like any evidence that it's just a myth?
That Enuma Elish is the oldest story in the world.
That what is the oldest story in the world?
Enuma Elish, it was found in Mesopotamia,
Okay.
the oldest civilization.
So
Yes, what I'm trying to say is Christianity, just like that, is a historical religion. Just like every other religion, it developed in certain areas and it updated itself throughout
right,
the
this
civilization.
again is just a claim. What's your evidence towards this claim?
The evidence that Christianity started in a specific time in a specific place,
Oh,
among
well,
other
we
competing
agree with
religions.
that. We agree with that, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's false.
Its
Just because something
falsity
started in a
depends
time and
on,
a place doesn't mean it's not true.
of course. The
Just so like
difference is,
algebra, the idea of algebra was like derived in a certain point in a certain time, but it's still a true method.
of course, there, because you said it's a fairy tale, that's what I'm trying to compare it to. So the narrative structure of Christianity or Judaism, the Old Testament, the narrative structure is the same as different mythological narrative structures.
Okay,
The
can you show me? Can
storytelling,
you
the
show me a
genre.
single scholar that says the narrative structure, like the textual critic that says the narrative structure of the Gospels aligns with other mythos?
I'm not talking about the Gospels. I said Old Testament stories.
Well, I'm talking about Christianity, which is based off of the
Of
Gospels.
course, and the Gospels they back off the Old Testament stories, right?
No, I don't need the
Without
Old
Old
Testament.
Testament,
I don't need
not
the Old
Gospels.
Testament to believe the New Testament.
Which prophecy did Jesus Christ fulfill then without the Old Testament?
He fulfilled a lot of them, but I don't need it. It's not a
That is your
requirement.
foundation, whether you like it or not. It has to be
Why?
substantiated in the Old Testament.
Explain to me why it has to be substantiated in the Old Testament.
Because Jesus has to prove that he is God himself, that was prophesied by Isaiah, Daniel,
Okay.
all the Old
Okay,
Testament
then show me how
prophets.
show me a textual critic that says Isaiah aligns up with ancient
Yeah.
mythos.
Okay, so do we agree that the New Testament depends on Old Testament to exist?
No,
They are interconnected?
no.
Okay, so
Because
you're
you're using
denying the
Isaiah.
prophecy.
So for example,
Not only Isaiah.
hold on. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Does the book of Esther need to be in the Bible for the Bible to be true?
Yeah, the book of Esther, among other books collectively, yes, it supports the Old
Okay, so
Testament.
why does the book of Esther require to be true and to be into the Bible for everything else to be true?
Yeah, the book of Esther is just like another book in the Old Testament, just like Genesis and Exodus.
That's not answering the question. Why specifically does the book of Esther need to be in there?
It doesn't have to be a specific book, is what I'm saying. But the narrative structure has to continue from the Old Testament to the New Testament.
Right, so you're just using
Otherwise,
vague
you just
references.
pick it
You're
up
using a
randomly.
vague, huge, overarching reference, right? You understand the Old Testament's not a singular book, right?
Yes, that's why I said
You
narrative.
understand it wasn't placed into a singular book for a very, very long time. It was separate scrolls,
I
right?
understand. Again, that's why I said narrative.
You also understand that there were early Jews who didn't take the entire Old Testament as like some of them only took the first 5 books, some of them took all the other ones as well. So all of it wasn't always considered canon from the old Jews as well.
Yeah, I'm referencing to the canon. Otherwise, you have no coherence in the book.
So whose canon are you
That's-
referencing to? Are you referencing to the Sadducees or the
referencing
Pharisees
the
canon?
Septuagint.
Are you referencing to the Pharisees or the Sadducees canon?
You can call it the Pharisees canon, Sadducees canon. What I'm trying
Which
to
canon
talk
are
about
you
is the
referencing to?
canon-
The Pharisees or the Sadducees canon?
the
Because they had different
Pentateuch,
canons.
The Pentateuch. What
So
Moses
which
wrote.
references? So just the first 5 books then.
The five books plus the
Okay,
Deuteronomical
so
books.
those are 2 different canons.
Founded.
Which canon are you referencing?
Are you saying the 5 books were not canonized?
No, I'm asking you which canon are you referencing?
What
Are you
the
only
options
referencing the
that
first
we
5
put
books?
in
Are you
place
referencing
to
all the
take
other
this?
books? Are you also including the book of Enoch? Because there were some Jewish sects that included the book of Enoch. Which canon are you looking at to conclude that he must
Yes,
fulfill
that was
that canon?
yeah. Okay, let me establish this for you once and for all.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we agree that the 5 books are the foundation for Christianity, Genesis to Leviticus?
No,
Yes, no.
no.
No, you don't believe Genesis has anything to do with the New Testament, the
I
Logos, the
never. No,
Word, nothing.
you're changing. You said, is it the foundation of Christianity? And now you're asking if it has anything to do with it. Those are two different questions. Which question are you
So
asking?
when Jesus Christ said, "I am the Lamb before the
Which
foundation of the
question
earth,"
are
and
you
in the
asking?
beginning God was the Word,
Why are
has
you
no
why are
connection.
you
The
shifting
Logos
to
has
another
no.
question? You asked two different questions. The first question you
I am
asked.
giving you the
Hold on,
foundation
please,
for your New Testament.
please let me speak.
Otherwise, it's meaningless.
Please let me speak. The first question you
Yeah.
asked was, is it the foundation of Christianity? I said no, and then you said, oh, so you believe it has nothing to do with Christianity? Those aren't the same question.
What does foundation mean?
Foundation means it is what it is built off of. The entire aspect of what you believe lays on that.
Okay, so God of Abraham, when and where was he established?
The God of Abraham, when was he established? He was
Yeah,
never
the Trinity, the
established.
Triune God.
He was never established. He always existed.
As a religious concept that was worshipped by people. When
Since
was
the
he
beginning of
revealed? Let's
time.
say.
The beginning of time.
Okay, you're saying before Abraham he was revealed?
Yes.
To who?
To Adam and Eve.
To Adam and Eve. How about after that to the people of the world?
There are several different times he
Did he
revealed himself.
okay, let me fix the question. When did he establish communion? When did he establish covenant? When did he establish
At the very,
foundation, history?
very beginning.
With who? With Adam?
With Adam and Eve.
Okay, what was the covenant again?
The covenant is you can live in my garden, do whatever you want. Don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That was the covenant.
Once they ate from the tree, what happened?
They got kicked out.
They were disconnected from the covenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when was it reestablished again? That covenant?
No, they weren't. That covenant was never reestablished. There was a different covenant made. That covenant was reestablished when Christ died on the cross.
No. I'm saying after Adam and Eve, you're denying the covenant that was made with Noah. You're
I'm not
denying the
denying the
covenant that was
covenant.
made with
Hold on.
Abraham.
How are you jumping to these conclusions? Just because I didn't say anything, you're saying I deny it? Is this how atheists argue? If you hear somebody not say something, you conclude they deny all of it?
You literally said you jumped to the Gospels before Noah, before Abraham.
You
Am I
asked when
lying?
the covenant was reestablished that was in the garden, and that happened with Christ.
How do we explain the Noah covenant then?
That's
How
a
do we
different
explain the
covenant.
Abrahamic? It's still a covenant nonetheless, right?
But it's not
That's what I was
reestablishing the
referencing.
covenant in the garden.
I'm not saying it's
That's
the
literally what you
reestablishment
said.
of the covenant.
You said they got cut off from the covenant in the garden. When was it reestablished? That was literally what you said.
Reestablishment and covenant are
All right,
completely
man.
different
This is
things,
not a
right?
good faith argument. I'm gonna move on, but I thank
That's
you
what
for
I
coming
thought.
up, bro.
No, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, he left on his own. I didn't even kick him there. What did he say?
Maybe you're pathetic. I didn't quite hear.
All right, guys, if you want to join the conversation, it is tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteele8. I don't see anybody in the YouTube queue. You usually have some people by now. I'm going to test to see if that's still working. And password is 12345. Oops. Dang it. Yeah, you guys just don't like me. Okay. Let's bring in a guest on TikTok. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Abby, they can hear you munching, by the way.
Oh no.
Sorry, how old are you?
38.
All right, man.
How old are you?
I'm 34. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
So, do you feel like this is like like a falsifiable thing, something like that.
Can you prove that Harry Potter's a fairy tale?
No.
You can't prove that
I mean,
Harry Potter's a fairy tale?
Well, how about you do that to me and that as an example?
Sure. We know the author of Harry Potter. She has confessed and openly admitted that it is a fairy tale. It's widely derived by the people inside their culture that they all agree that it was collectively a fairy tale and it wasn't true. So based off this, it's a higher probability that it's a fairy tale than it is not.
Higher probability or proven?
Yeah. So you can't prove anything. Everything works on probabilities.
Okay. Okay. So what you're just asking me to do what, a lower probability then?
Yeah, you're basically going to make the argument that it's more likely that it's a fairy tale than it's not.
Okay, so like there, wouldn't you say like in a story where there's magic, and that's generally a fairy tale?
No, it's just begging the question.
How so?
Because you're just saying anything with magic is a fairy tale. Well, the whole thing that we Christians believe is we believe there's actually magic. So you're just begging the question.
No, that's not question begging.
It is question begging. You're saying there is no such thing as magic. Okay. So if I see magic, it's a fairy tale. We say there is such thing as magic.
Right, but that's not question begging because the answer
that is question begging.
Christianity. Okay. Do you want to look up question begging with me?
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Define question begging.
Question begging is assuming
begging
the
a question. Hold on. Yeah,
premise.
raise a question or point that has not dealt with it. Raise a question or a point that has not been dealt with. Invite an obvious question. Assume the truth of an argument or proposition to be proved without arguing it. You're assuming.
Right. So
hold on. You're assuming that magic isn't real in that argument.
Yes, but
that's begging the question.
Okay, can I finish the sentence? Are you good with that?
Well, if you don't beg the question, sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. But it's a sticky, like, I don't want to stick on the point. So, the premise, there is no magic, and the conclusion, Christianity is not true, are not the same. Question begging is assuming the conclusion in the question.
Are you concluding that magic isn't real?
Is magic, dude? Is magic the same thing as Christianity?
No, but are you assuming that magic isn't
okay?
Real?
Then we're done here. It can't be question begging.
It's question begging. It's just a different question.
This feels like not a good faith argument.
You're correct. You're not arguing in good faith. That's 100%. So you're saying your argument is this. Hold on. If Christianity is true, is magic real?
If Christianity is true, magic is real, yes.
Phenomenal. So when you say, hold on. So then when you say that it's false because there's magic, what are you saying?
I'm saying that because magic isn't real in our world, we can know.
How's that not question begging?
True. Because it's the premise is not the conclusion.
You just okay. Let's try again. If Christianity is true, is magic real?
You just proved that it's not question begging.
If Christianity is true, is magic real?
Hold on, pause.
No. Answer the question. If Christianity is true, is magic real?
Asked and answered.
Just do it again. If Christianity is true, is magic real?
Yes.
Okay. Is magic real?
No.
How's that not question begging?
It's question begging on magic, right?
Okay, if magic is not real, is Christianity true?
Correct. No, it is not.
So then how is it not question begging?
Because this is a separate step.
Listen, my wife gets it. My wife gets it. And both,
I'm not that smart.
Yeah, she's got 2 brain cells fighting for 3rd place, so.
So do you understand there's different, a premise can be a conclusion, a conclusion can be a premise, right?
All right, I'm going to move on, but thank you for the laugh.
You're going to move on?
Yeah.
Hold on, pause.
Appreciate your time, bro.
That's rough. It's bad when even I get it.
All right, we got some people on YouTube. I'm gonna bring some people up. Hold on, let's mute it. The wife got astray. She knows I love her and I'm just teasing her. She's very smart. I'm just teasing her. Tommy, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Tommy? Oh, my friend, you
That's
are
a child.
You are a child. You are a fetus. You should not be. Listen, parents. If you can hear, your child is trying to talk to grown men on the internet. Yes, you. If you can hear this, your child is trying to talk to grown men on the internet. Mm-hmm. Martin, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, just give me 2 seconds and I will bring you in. All right, bro, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
All right, so I just want to ask you, so being a Christian, you believe in objective morality, correct?
I do believe in objective morality.
All right, and so the epistemology in the Bible for divine, or for objective morality is divine revelation, correct?
No.
It's not. That's not where they gather. That's not where they gather their information from. It's not God revealing it to their.
No.
No. Where is it from?
It's from God Himself, not revelation. It's
but
natural law written on our hearts.
How do they know it's from God?
It's written on our hearts. It's literally what Scripture says all throughout it.
Yeah,
right? For the Gentiles.
Who wrote the Scripture?
Hold on. You said the Bible's epistemology.
Well, just answer the question. Yeah.
The Bible's conclusion is that it's already written on our hearts. It's not through revelation. It says the Gentiles who do not have the law already have the law upon their hearts.
Okay, that has nothing to do with my question, but I don't
Yes,
know
it does, because it's not revelation.
No, it definitely is revelation, right? It's like, how else would they know that?
Okay, prove it.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean, prove it? That's literally what it says.
Where?
That's what you're describing is revelation. How else would
where does it say that we get morality through revelation?
If not, well, you get all your information from what God tells you because he revealed it, right, to his people.
No.
Then how did the people who wrote the Bible, how do they know it's God's word?
That's a different question. You're asking about morality.
But you can still answer it, right?
Yes,
but they connect.
It's a different.
Don't worry. I'll connect them eventually. Don't worry. Just
why are you? Listen. Why is everybody so upset today? Just relax. Take a breath.
Bro, I'm chill.
Just real quick. Bear Witness came in with $5. Says W stream. Love to see them try to prove a point they don't have. So something can be revealed in Scripture. That doesn't mean all things that ever existed were revealed in Scripture.
Okay, but everything in Scripture that is written was revealed by God, or no? No. Okay, then who was it revealed by?
Well, it depends on the author.
Yeah. Okay. Like the 10 Commandments per se? Who was it revealed by?
The 10 Commandments were revealed by God to Moses, and he wrote it down.
Okay, so that's a divine revelation, right? When Moses received that revelation from God, correct? I'm just trying to ask. I just want to.
Yeah, he was given. Now ask me if that 10 Commandments was still true before God gave it to Moses.
No, that has nothing to do with the question.
It has everything to do with it.
Well, no, I wasn't gonna ask. Okay, so now listen.
Listen. You need to chill, bro. You're all over the place. Listen.
No.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna show you right now why you're wrong. Okay, I'm gonna move on if you're not gonna let me speak. Right?
Well, you wouldn't let me finish my question. I have one question.
You're jumping all over the place.
No. I'm gonna ask one question that you're not gonna be able to answer. Ready?
Go for it.
If the 10 Commandments morality was revealed by God,
it wasn't.
How would you ever resolve a moral quandary between two different religions that are both claiming to have both been revealed by God? How would you ever objectively prove the difference in those moral claims? Because
it was written on their hearts before.
Okay, so what if one other person said it was written on their hearts before? How would you prove that wasn't and it was for the other person?
Give me an actual example.
I'm just asking.
Give me an example.
It can literally be any other.
Give me an example where one culture says it's okay to unalive innocent people and another culture says it's not.
Well, I'm pretty sure in the Jewish culture it's okay to like spit on people who aren't Jewish, correct?
My question remains.
Right. I mean, but that's morality, right?
Give me answer. So here, answer my question.
And I'm pretty sure it's also in the Islamic.
All right. So I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move on because you're not letting me speak. But I appreciate it.
In the Islamic religion, it's okay to kill people. It's okay to kill people.
Why is he so saucy?
I don't know why they're all over the place today. Yeah, it's not cooking when all you're doing is bad straw manning. All right. Lord, I thought, listen, we prayed for peace today. And he's like, oh, hold my beer. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro. Just bring you on. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
Well, I don't think there's any proof that Christianity is true. Simple as that.
That's not an argument.
What's your argument for it being true?
So are you conceding you cannot prove that it's a fairy tale?
Oh, there's a lot of evidence to prove it's a fairy tale.
Okay, go ahead.
Where do you want me to start?
Anywhere.
What's the most valid point for you that would change your mind if I proved it not to be true?
Yeah, just start anywhere, bro. Let's just see what you got. He left on his own. What is going on today?
He doesn't think so, so
it's
not.
Because he said so, yeah. I'm not even getting to the point where I can ask people like a good faith at the end question. Like I'm trying to do a video where I ask 100 atheists why they don't believe in God, and I can't even get to that point where I can ask that question with these people. CJ Ton, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, just 2 seconds and I'll bring you on. All right, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
Cool. So I think the first thing we want to make a distinction of, would you class Mormonism as a fairy tale?
No.
So Mormonism isn't a fairy tale, would you say? Why would it not be a fairy tale?
Because I think they actually had some events that happened to them, but I think they're misinterpreting those events. And I think Joseph Smith lied about certain things, but that doesn't make it a fairy tale.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. And the Quran?
No, I don't think the Quran's a fairy tale either.
Because, again, there's true things in the Quran, and it presents that.
No, I think Muhammad literally had a revelation from Satan. That's my current belief,
okay.
and it gets a whole bunch of things wrong. And I think he was talking about revelation that he was getting. He was giving it to his community, but there's a whole bunch of things wrong in the Quran and things that make it not historically reliable. But it wouldn't classify as a fairy tale.
So what would you classify as a fairy tale? What do I need to kind of present to you to kind of what is a fairy tale, just so we kind of know what our terms are, basically?
Be like Harry Potter.
Oh, well, I mean, I can kind of. Oh, so has no bearing of truth, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I can kind of grant that Jesus of Nazareth was a person who walked at around 0 AD, and I think that's quite an easy thing to grant to you. What I wonder is kind of
why is that an easy thing to grant?
Oh, because I think it's true. I mean, I think he was there's archaeological evidence for that.
What's the archaeological evidence?
The Bible, but also Roman writings that referred to Jesus of Nazareth.
Wait, so testimony is archaeological evidence?
Well, okay, there's independent testimony, and then there's also biblical testimony. But I think there's something to do with biblical testimony is quite difficult. I tend to kind of be relatively in agreement with a lot of kind of Christian theistic arguments regarding kind of biblical testimony, and I'm willing to sort of accept some of those. But I think due to the sort of
testimony. So just to be clear, testimony is evidence.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously, it all depends on specific types of testimony. The same in law and the same in any sort of court case. You'd have different levels of testimony. But I think testimony in some situations can definitely be perceived as a version of evidence.
What is a situation where testimony is not considered evidence?
When it's been misconstrued or presented in malice or presented by someone who isn't fully mentally capable.
Well, that'd still be evidence. It'd just be evidence of malice.
Yes. So, I mean, I suppose you could. We're getting a bit semantic here, but
Does
the
evidence-
evidence, like good. I think when I say
Yeah.
evidence, I'm meaning good evidence for the thing that it's presenting. I think it's.
So just real quick, semantics are important because it decides how we're using language. So it's a very important thing that
That's
we
what I'm
use.
saying. Yeah.
And now the next thing is like, does evidence have to be true?
No, it
Right,
can be
so-
false. But
right,
when
so-
I
so-
say evidence, sorry. Yeah, when I was saying evidence, I was meaning it in the way that it's actual evidence that is good evidence, not false evidence, if that makes sense. So sorry if I wasn't clear about that, but I've now clarified.
Okay. So you say we have good evidence for Jesus Christ, crucifixion, empty tomb. You know, these things all scholars agree on.
Okay, empty tomb less so, crucifixion more so.
The scholarly consensus is for the empty tomb.
That is still slightly disputed. I think to say that there's absolute scholarly consensus on that is quite hard to say.
No, I didn't say absolute. I just said consensus.
Yeah, no, but I mean to say that there is scholarly consensus in an absolute way is quite difficult to make that claim.
Yeah.
No, because you said there's scholarly consensus.
Consensus
and you
doesn't
said
mean
that,
absolute.
No, I know. I'm saying you said there's scholarly consensus, and you said that as an absolute fact, not that there is scholarly consensus. The scholarly consensus is the absolute, so that there absolutely definitely is scholarly consensus, and I think that is disputed.
No. The scholarly consensus is that the tomb was empty. This is what the majority of the scholars agree on.
I mean, that depends on which scholars you pick and what scholars to look at. But I think
that's not how it works. No, consensus is you don't get to pick. Johnny Gaming came in with $2, says, "Can I come on and ask you about the contingency argument?" I mean, sure, yeah, that's no problem. We'll get you up when we can. Yeah. You don't get to pick if you use a consensus. But either way, scholarship. What I know for absolute fact is that Jesus was a real person, 12 apostles, that he's crucified under Pontius Pilate, that his followers genuinely believe that he rose from the dead. So Bart Ehrman writes about how he believes all those things are true.
Yeah, but Bart Ehrman is really interesting. What I want to say is actually just to get the scholarly consensus. Firstly, what do you classify as a scholar? And secondly, if let's say 1 million scholars,
so people that are part of the guild.
Yeah, okay. So 1 million scholars who achieved scholarships in a certain university.
There's not a million. Okay, I'm defining what scholarship is. I'm defining what the scholarship
presenting a hypothetical. I'm presenting a hypothetical.
Hypothetical doesn't work when I give you my standard of what a scholar is.
Okay,
They're part of the guild.
The guild being?
There's a group of people who are considered biblical scholars who get to derive and make conclusions about what certain things mean, and they're called the guild, right? You become a member of the guild, and these are the permanent people who make these determinations. If there's a consensus amongst them, these are the experts. So you can have a scholar, somebody who goes and gets a degree in this field, but they're not part of the guild. They wouldn't be considered one of those biblical scholars.
Okay. Sorry, I did interrupt you there. But no, I can understand what you're saying. These biblical scholars, are they typically Christian scholars, or are they also atheist scholars allowed in this guild? I mean, we're slightly detracting from whether or not Christianity is a fairy tale, but I'm interested.
They're all sorts. So there's Christian, there's atheist, there's agnostic, there's Mormon. So I can give you, for example, Dan McClellan, be a member of the guild. He's a Mormon. Bart Ehrman is agnostic atheist. He's a member of the guild. And then like Gary Habermas would be a Christian. He's a member of the guild.
Okay. I mean, I'm slightly always a bit hesitant when we look at sort of like these like collective groups that are like an upper echelon where that you get issues with sort of like information harboring where yeah. So I mean, but I think I'm happy to put a pause there and go on to whether or not Christianity is a fairy tale, if you'd like. And I think a key argument is, I mean, when you say fairy tale, do you mean? I mean, I know we kind of established that it's not true, but just look at the Bible, the New Testament specifically. I think it presents a pretty beautiful view of the world. I mean, if you look at, the New Testament is an amazing book. The Old Testament less so.
Wait.
But if you look at the New Testament,
can I just ask a clarifying question? Are you saying it's a beautiful view of the world or a beautiful world of the Gospels? Because the Gospels portray the world as being depraved and horrible.
No, I think Jesus is a beautiful presentation of what humanity can be.
Okay.
So he
All right.
presents a view of humanity that then is really good. So I think that, and I think that in itself, whether or not it's true or not, could be classified in some way, shape, or form as a fairy tale, and that he's presenting a sort of utopian view that is at the end of society, where you achieve this like higher level of enlightenment through the Bible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Like,
that. I'd say this is a little bit of begging the question. I'm not going to say fully. And the reason I would say this is because in the Christian worldview, if what we believe is true, that's going to happen. Period. You're stating is like this is an ideal that is going to happen. And if you think Jesus is not God, he did not resurrect from the dead, that would be a conclusion that hey, it's a good ideal. But then I would argue a little bit about where you're getting your standards, but that's besides the point. But if the Christian worldview is true, then it's not just an ideal, it will happen.
yeah, okay. So yeah, that's a fair point. So I guess the main hinging thing there is, I guess, whether or not Christianity is or isn't true. Is that, I suppose, this is kind of what we're beating around, but again, we need to kind of come to that. And I think for kind of the utmost clarity, I think the main problems that I have are your bog standard problem of evil. I think we have your kind of typical divine hiddenness, and I think we come into a sort of
Okay.
um,
Which one do you want to talk
yeah,
about? The
okay.
problem of evil or divine
Okay.
hiddenness?
I think let's start on the problem of evil. So
Okay.
I guess just for my point to be kind of sort of as clear as possible, I think the fact that when we look at the world and we look at how, and we think about, okay, what would the world be under a kind of biblical hypotheses versus what would the world be under a sort of more secular atheist hypotheses? When we look at the world, what do we see? And I think we see a world that is kind of fraught with suffering, fraught with deprivation. And if we were to think about what kind of all-powerful, all-knowing, and God beyond time, I find it very, very hard to believe how that God has created a world such as this.
Okay, so the problem is you said it's a biblical hypothesis, right? What would we expect under that? If we were using a biblical hypothesis, we'd expect the world that we live in, because this is what the Bible says that we're going to live in. So are you doing a biblical hypothesis, or are you just simply stating that we cannot have the contradiction of all-knowing and all-powerful, all-powerful and all-loving, and yet have a world of suffering? Which one is it?
Yes, the all-powerful, all-loving, then the world of suffering. That's specific.
Okay, cool. So my first question for you is, where do you get your standard of what is evil?
Okay, so I would fall into not a purely humanist perspective. I think we can find different levels of, so I believe there is some level of objective morality, but specifically the objective morality, you have to use a kind of standard that you base that on. You would base it on the Bible and truth and within the Bible. You'd have Buddhists basing it on the Buddha. You'd have Hindus based on the
I'm
Hindus.
going to pause you because you're kind of going on a tangent. Where do you specifically get your measuring stick to determine that there's too much evil in the world for there to be a loving God?
Okay. Specifically, animal suffering. Evils that could be easily solved.
That's not the measuring stick.
Oh,
that's the suffering. What's the measuring stick?
The measuring stick would be level of well-being.
Right, but what's the measuring stick?
Well-being.
But that's not a measuring stick. That's a statement that you're saying is evil. How are you what are you to compare it to say that this is evil?
Comparing levels of well-being. So if we look at a kind of maximally good and world where everyone is doing well, and a maximally evil world through kind of least well-being and most well-being, that's the sort of standard I'd use.
Okay.
As a kind of hypothesis. I think if you go to the extremes, go.
Okay, so then in an internal critique, where is the Christian God stating that goodness is well-being?
Okay, so I mean, he doesn't state goodness is well-being, but then what would you say that the Christian God states goodness is then?
It's a state of being. It's being in a state of being. So it's not well-being, right? Because that's a subjective term. Because well-being for me could be like taking in the sun. Actually, this is a good one. I don't like to sit in the sun. My wife does. So that's a subjective term. But a state of being, the state of what our properties are and how we ought to be, is something that is good, right? So I have 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 eyes. This is how I'm ordered to be. I'm ordered to worship God. Anything that takes away from that order would be something that is not good. Yeah, and it's not always just your level of happiness or suffering.
Okay. And so how do you then achieve the highest goodness? How do you get more good? Because that's the idea of the end of the Bible, no? Or am I mistaken?
The way that you align yourself to the highest form of goodness is being in unison with God's will.
Okay. And so how do animals do that?
Animals have different life and aspects. So I'm an animal universalist. This is what we call the defeater argument. Animals may endure some suffering or go through things in their life now, but when they die, they will move on to the next life. They'll all go to paradise with God, and they'll retroactively consent on the suffering that they went through.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So you'd say that all the animals that endure such high level sufferings and the animals that commit that suffering. So if I'm gonna stay away from kind of like really horrid terms, but I mean I'm assuming you know kind of like the evils of dolphins and what they commit, and penguins and all of these other sort of animals. So these animals that commit sins that would be heinous in the eyes of a Christian God, they still get to go to heaven.
An animal can't commit sin.
Yes, because he can't go against. But so in animal terms, then all of the things that would be considered sins with regards to humans are absolutely fine for animals to do.
They have different ontological properties.
And so just to be clear, it's absolutely okay for dolphins to drape other dolphins and other fish in your worldview.
It's not okay. I'm just saying animals cannot sin. They do not have the moral ability to do so. This is like saying did a hurricane sin?
So dolphins just don't have an ontological kind of.
They're not members. They're not members of rational kind. So, for example, William Lane Craig argues that animals they do suffer, but they do not suffer from the first person perspective. They suffer from like a third person perspective because they have no concept of I or concept of self like humans do.
Interesting. And I guess so. When you look at, let's say, where does the I get drawn with regards to kind of humans? Because humans obviously want to progress. I'm assuming you're not a creationist and you believe in some level of evolution.
I do believe in some level of evolution.
Okay, so at what point did humans then transition from ape animal to human and
I don't know if I believe in that level of evolution.
Oh, okay. So what level of evolution do you believe? So at what point did humans then gain this ontological ability to sin?
Well, you just repeated the same question.
Oh, sorry. So I'm just asking what your belief is there.
Yeah, but I don't know if I believe in that level of evolution. I'm agnostic when it comes to the grand scheme of changing of kinds or abiogenesis. I don't really see enough evidence for it. But I definitely say there's 100% minor evolutions. We do have changes throughout time, like, changing in color of skin, molars, body hair, eye color. These things happen.
Interesting. And so do you believe that humans came out of Africa?
Well, I believe they came out of that area for sure.
Okay. And were they fundamentally different to humans now?
Well, what do you mean fundamentally different, right? Because there's fundamental differences between me and somebody from Africa now.
No, I mean, okay. I mean the kind of Homo sapiens. So they were Homo sapiens, we were Homo sapiens, and we go to like Homo erectus and
pause.
Homo.
This is a children's book. No, I'm just joking.
Sorry, but obviously, Homo erectus, Homo australis, and so when you look at these old terms and these kind of still very humanoid and hominin beings, would they not be?
So you're asking me like the whole spectrum of evolution. I'm not too sure. I have not super deeply studied into it, but I know, for example, humans could mate with Neanderthal. So is that like a huge difference? I don't know. I think if you could mate within the species, then you're probably within the same species.
I don't know if that's not the case because you have crossbreed between.
I've never seen a dog and a fish make a dogfish.
No, I mean I'm talking about kind of ligers and so like combinations of lions and tigers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but they're species of cat.
Is it not genus of cat? They're different
Or
species
genus,
of
genus
the
of
genus
cat.
of cat.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
genus of
I'm
cat.
using species and genus interchangeably, and I shouldn't have been. You're correct. Genus.
Um, yeah. So okay. And so if we just go, I guess, would you be granting that Neanderthals then have ontological worth? I mean, that's interesting.
Well, if Neanderthals are members of rational kinds and can interchange with humans, then I would just simply state that they're in the genus of human.
But obviously, the human genus then does at some point you go to the pact where there was the original human, and then that human would still be able to mate with other human hominins within the genus.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to get at
my
basically.
question, my question is
sorry.
what does this have to do with Christianity being a myth, though?
Oh, because okay, so all this is going to is basically if there. I mean, if you think there's a cutoff line between hominins with ontological principles and animals without, I'm just coming to the kind of problem of evil in that where does it say that dolphins
you're asking me to make you're asking me to have 100% conclusive ideas of how every methodology works, and I don't think that's a fair question to ask, because you would simply state that you believe in evolution, yet there are 7 different hypotheses towards what evolution is and how it operates. So I don't have to know exactly when humans became rational kinds or exactly when an animal would become a rational kind. I can simply state that. Yeah. Well, then what are you asking?
I'm asking that on that principle, because you don't need to tell me exactly when that cutoff is, but if that cutoff is a thing, then that somewhat defeats the principle that animals and humans have different ontological kind of foundations. And then that leads back to the problem of evil, links back to Christianity.
Why?
Oh, because we kind of went from Christianity to the problem of evil.
Why would you have that assumption if there's a cutoff?
Oh, because you said that there is, because they couldn't have a difference in is it agential kind? I can't remember the name.
Right. So for example, a baby is not rationalizing, but eventually they do rationalize, and then they have moral responsibility. Just because at one point they did have it, and at one point they didn't have it, at one point they do, doesn't change the fact that we are members of rational kinds, and that we all, as a species, have a certain responsibility that God has bestowed upon us. Now, if I commit a sin versus a baby committing a sin, God is going to judge that differently. I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay, and so coming to whether or not God can allow or not allow this, do you think God could have just stopped? Like the same way in God, I'd imagine God has some control over the weather, control over the hurricanes.
Yeah, you're asking for a theodicy. I don't have to provide a theodicy, right? I can give a logical, what I'm giving is a logical solution to the problem and showing it's not a problem, that there is no contradiction. As long as God defeats the evil, he is just.
Defeats the evil in what way? Oh, over the prolonged period of time.
Yeah, as long as the evil is defeated, he is just.
So so is he? We don't know. So he might not be just now. So we don't know if he's just.
No, because he does defeat the evil. That's the Christian worldview. That's the whole point.
But he defeats it at the end of when the world has become fully enlightened. For
example, that you saints are in heaven, their evil has been defeated.
But there are also people in hell, and their evil hasn't been defeated, or is it defeated because they're now in hell?
No, they're in hell is actually being in God's presence and rejecting his offer, right? So these people, their evil isn't defeated because they don't want it to be, and God allows them to. Right? This is what makes it. He allows you the opportunity to defeat all evil.
Okay, I'm gonna. I mean, if you don't mind, continue. I'm gonna probe with the sort of idea that are you Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox?
Pro-orthodox.
Sorry, what's that? Sorry, I'm unaware of that term.
It's the best.
Just the best.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of clarification? What does it actually mean?
It's just the best.
So you're not going to clarify what denomination you are?
Pro-orthodox.
But can you? Okay. Do you believe in infallibility of the ecumenical councils?
Infallibility of the ecumenical councils. I don't know.
wouldn't that be quite key to whether or not Christianity is true? If the founding of but Jesus is Christ's church, which was then followed by Paul. Do you not think that foundation of the foundations of Christianity and how they've then transpired is some level into how true Christianity is and what Christianity is true? Because I think you can say that the Christianities like the Gnostics, who would leave and say that there isn't a Trinity, there isn't anything, and they just think Jesus was a good person. I can actually fundamentally kind of look at that and go, okay, that's interesting.
Did you say that's what the
But-
Gnostics didn't believe that?
Yeah, the Gnostics didn't believe in a Trinity.
No, but they didn't believe that Jesus was just a good person.
No, sorry. They had the evil demiurge, then they had the new god, and then Jesus was that new god. But
No,
yeah,
that's
so
also not what they believed. The Gnostics believed that
sorry,
we were
okay.
the Gnostics believed that we were all God.
Oh wait, wasn't that the Mormons? I thought the Mormons believed that we were all
Mormons
God.
believe that everybody becomes a type of God.
Becomes a type of God. That's it. Sorry, I'm confusing terms there. But even so, would you accept the Gnostics as a true religion and is not a fairy tale?
It's a religion. I haven't looked into. Well, I wouldn't say that there's any basis or reason to take anything they say as historical. So yeah, I'd probably classify the Gnostics as a type of fairy tale or myth.
Okay, so that's interesting. And so if the Gnostics are a fairy tale,
Well, they're not the
and then you look
Gnostics.
at
Not the Gnostic
What?
people were real people, but everything
No, I know
they
they're
believed
sorry,
and
I know
based
they're real
off.
people. When I say the Gnostic religion is a fairy tale, that's what I was That's what I was saying. And then we look at
this conversation is a little all over the place, bro.
No, I
Keep going.
know. We're sort of jumping, but it's because I suppose if you're, I guess I'm just kind of probing because I don't know what I'm gonna research after this what is that pro orthodox?
Yeah, so I'll save you some time. It's just a word I invented because I don't tell people my denomination.
Oh, sorry, I was unaware of that. Okay, I was gonna search that up and do a whole kind of looking. Okay, that's fine.
Just before you go, hold on.
Yeah.
Chris P came in with $10. Says, "God bless you too. Here's some more taco money. Just don't Taco Bell the lobby seats and the toilets. We don't have Taco Bell where we're at, but thank you so much for the money. Appreciate you. All right, go ahead, bro.
Well, I'm gonna save you some time. I think this has been a really amazing conversation. It's been really interesting and enlightening. And I'd love to try and catch you again, but I'm gonna need to leave. I'm gonna need to go soon. So.
All right, man. Appreciate your
really
time.
appreciate this.
Just
Would love to catch you again.
before you go, if you don't mind, just can you quickly summarize why you don't believe in God?
Okay, so I don't believe in the Christian God because I haven't seen enough evidence for with regards to which denomination to then fall into. And so if I can't find out which denomination of the Christian God I can fall into, I can't accept Christianity on a whole.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks for your time. God bless and have a great day.
God bless.
Do 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 do. I do 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 do. I do 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 do. I do do do. Mitchell came in with $5. Says, unfortunately, I have to work. God bless, and what a great caller. God bless, Mitchell. Thank you for the money. And have a great day at work, man. Let's bring up the next guest. No, I'm not pro-Orthodox. It's just it's a mixture of Protestant, Catholic, and Orthodox, like all in one word. Jesus came in with $5. Says, if God is all-knowing and all-powerful, can he make a rock that he can't lift? Thank you for the yeah, so this would be like a metaphysical contradiction. So no, he could not. Hate it when I drop things I'm playing with. Scott, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Scott? All right, man. Thank you for hopping up. God bless. All right. Because of your name, I'm not going to bring you up. God bless.
Now I want to know.
Dragon knees.
What?
Dragon knees. Dragon knees nuts cross your face.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Ace, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Good. When were you born? When were you born? God bless. If you have to think about it that long, you're making up how old you are. Add the 1 minus the 2, carry the 3. Mm-hmm. I know you guys didn't hear him. I have people muted until I've affirmed that they're actually a real person. We get a little too many trolls up in this house. John E. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, give me 2 seconds. Thunderstar came in with 999. I believe the ancient gods of my ancestors, many believe Jesus was a construct to conquer the Gentiles. Any thoughts on this? They never conquered the Gentiles. All right, man. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco. Go ahead.
I can't win that taco because I'm a Christian, but I did have a question about the contingency argument.
Oh, you're the guy who asked the thing. Okay, what's your question?
It's like a week and a half ago, I think, you were talking to a Muslim woman and she gave you the contingency argument.
Mm-hmm.
But then you counteracted with, how come it has to be one necessary being? What would be your response to that?
The reason that it has to be a necessary being is because there'd be ad hoc limiters if we have a certain universe. So you kind of mix the contingency argument in with the teleological argument. So if we had this all-powerful non-mind, right? Sorry. Let me hold on. Rephrase your question. I think I might be jumping, or just say it again.
So yeah, in that conversation with that Muslim woman, she gave you the contingency argument. And then you counteracted by saying, well, how come it has to be one necessary being? How come it can't be two? And that kind of threw me for a loop. Because naturally, doesn't the argument lead to one necessary being?
Yeah, so it does lead to one necessary being because this necessary being would not have to have any arbitrary limits. If you had multiple necessary beings that had arbitrary limits, this would create problems. And then you'd have to ask why these arbitrary limits are in place in the first place, and then you end up with the same problem. This necessary being would have to have like no limitations, and having no limitations, if there's multiple of them, the law of identity would say that there just be one, which is Trinity.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I have a second question relating. I've asked you this before, but I forgot which live it was on, so I'm just gonna ask you again. It's like in Mark 13:30, Jesus says he'll come back with all his angels and whatnot. What's your interpretation of that passage? Skeptics will say it's a failed prophecy. I'm sure you've heard it before.
Where are the angels? Angel just means messenger. Like we're the ones that were sent out to the four corners of the earth.
Oh, okay. How do you justify that interpretation?
Because this is what happened. Right? The entire city was destroyed. The temple was destroyed. Right? They said they would be persecuted. Persecution happened with Nero, and then angel by definition just means messenger. It's the word malach in Hebrew, and I know it was Greek, but this is where it derives from. And we are the ones that went out and gave the message. We are the ones sent with the gospel. So if we are the messengers, then we are those angels.
Gotcha. Okay, then more specifically, then Jesus said he would come back, but how do you interpret?
Yeah, he destroyed the temple.
Oh, okay. And then what scholars or, what evidence you have for that interpretation? Maybe
it's partial preterism. If you just Google partial preterism, you'll get more information on it.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay.
And then somebody said full preterism. This is not full preterism. Full preterism is Jesus did the second coming. Partial preterism is most of the prophecy has been fulfilled, but there's still some prophecy left to be fulfilled.
Gotcha. So you're a partial preterist.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then my last question, super important. Who's more handsome, you or Than?
Well, it's me. It's like, listen, the guy's way smarter than me and way more confident than me, but I am definitely more handsome. 100%. I'll take that W.
Understood. Well, that's all I got. Thank you, man. God bless.
All right, bro. God bless. Take that W every day of the week. I hope fans watching. Is he that smart? Fan is really smart, like really, really smart. He just went live with William Lane Craig, and William Lane Craig accepted his philosophical argument, not even something that he read from someone else, his own philosophical argument. William Lane Craig's like, yeah, I agree with that. If you listen, if you're that smart that you can come up with your own philosophical argument, that William Lane Craig is like, bro, thumbs up. That's pretty smart. I couldn't do that. Jalen. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Jalen? Mm-hmm. I think we had a lot of trolls try to get in today because we're going through, there's a huge queue, but as we're going through them, they just vanish. Love this queue system. Ash, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, how old are you?
Bye.
Mm-hmm. Scott, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Scott. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dimitri, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro, just give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right, man, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
Okay, can I just start by asking how you define a fairy tale?
Something that's completely based off of mythos.
So mythological elements, fiction, that type of thing?
Yeah, it's fiction.
Okay, so essentially it has to be a fictional story with, I don't think you care too much about like the story structure of good versus bad, that type of thing, or morals to be learned, more about the fictionality of it.
Sorry, was that a question?
Yeah, I am asking, is that what you consider as the main throughput of what you'd consider a fairy tale, whether it is fictional, not about the story structure or anything around it?
So a big basis would be like fiction, but obviously fairy tale has certain structure that if you read through, I'm not a textual critic, but if you read through it, you can determine that, hey, this has the structure of fairy tale to whatever century it's in. Sure.
Okay. Well, I would say I think Christianity as a whole would not fall into fairy tale. I mean, it is a religion, but I think where it does fail is on where it can prove its veracity, the truthfulness of it, the truthfulness of the claim of Christianity. I think it completely fails to do that.
Okay, that's not an argument though.
Okay. Perhaps I can start, since it seems it is making a truth claim. It is Christianity that's saying that it is truth. So what evidence do you have to say that it is true?
Yeah, so something making a claim, like, are you making the claim it's false? Like you actually just did like 2 seconds ago, but
not quite. I said, to be fair, I did actually, but what I did claim is that it fails to make its truthfulness claims. So my question that is, what are the truthfulness claims that it makes? What evidence does it have that it is true?
Okay, but the problem with your argumentation is that you're just shifting a burden, right? You came in, claimed it's false, and you're saying it's false until it's proven right. You can't do that. You can say agnostic, right? You say I don't know until it's been proven, but you can't say it's false until it's been proven.
Fair enough. I don't know whether Christianity is true. I think that's something nobody can claim with full context, except, of course, full believers. But I will say, until there is enough evidence to back Christianity, I cannot accept its true claims.
Okay. Define evidence.
Evidence is anything that lends to the credulity, not credulity, to the credence of a claim. So
the credence of a claim. So claims in itself are not evidence.
I guess they could fall under evidence in some cases, but the things surrounding the claim that do lead credence to that claim.
Okay, is claims evidence? Yes or no?
It is. It is.
Okay. All right. So it's not something that leads credence to a claim. It's literally a part of evidence. Yes.
It is part of evidence, but evidence encompasses more than the claim itself. It is the claim as well as the things around the claim that lend credence.
Yeah, there are multiple types of evidence, but claims are evidence. Yes.
Yes, they are.
Okay, cool. So I'll just give you a 3-part syllogism. You tell me which parts you disagree with. Premise 1, the historical evidence for Jesus' crucifixion is sufficient to warrant a rational belief in that event.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Premise 2, the historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for his crucifixion.
From what I've seen, I'd say yeah.
Cool. Premise 3, if 2 events are supported by comparable levels of credible evidence, then one should believe in both or neither, absent independent defeaters.
I would not agree with that.
Phenomenal, bro. You were one of the first people to go through that syllogism in good faith. I actually it's designed for people to disagree on the third premise.
Oh, okay.
But you go ahead and tell me why you don't agree with it.
Fair enough. So I don't think all claims are equal in the level of evidence that is required to believe them. Some claims do require more evidence based upon what it is they actually claim.
Okay. So basically you're saying extraordinary evidence requires extraordinary, or extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Is this what you're saying?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Smarter people than me have said it. I do agree with that.
Okay. Could you give me like a definition on how one would determine when something is considered an extraordinary claim, or methodology to determine that?
An extraordinary claim. So that is a claim which stands out of the ordinary by definition. So it is a claim where the thing that happens is something that is far from standard, something that goes beyond the normal or what you would expect.
Okay, so this would be literally everything until it was proven.
It would be literally everything that is new to you. That is how I would define it.
Okay, so anything that is new is considered an extraordinary claim.
Entirely new. So there are claims that are related to previous claims. For example, the sun rose today. Okay, cool. We all know the sun rises every day.
But that's not new.
Sure.
Right, we've experienced that. So basically you're saying is the things that we've experienced, right? We don't need as much evidence for things that we have not experienced.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So somebody who like lives in like Africa would need extraordinary evidence for snow existing.
Not quite. I do live in Africa, and I do believe snow exists.
Have you experienced snow?
And not extraordinary. So that's also the thing. We do get a lot.
But hold on. Have you experienced snow?
Personally, no.
Okay, so why is it not an extraordinary claim then?
Because I have experienced precipitation, I've experienced rain, I have seen a huge amount of evidence that claims that snow is available. So there is a standard of evidence versus the standard of claim.
Okay, so then it's not just what you experience on your day-to-day basis then. You can make a conclusion. You can make a conclusion. Yeah. You can basically say this is the best explanation. This is the best hypothesis that has the most explanatory power.
Absolutely, yes.
Fearless Truth came in with $1.99 and said, new haircut, holy handsome. All right, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate
Amen.
you. Yeah, okay. So then it's not just things that you experience on a day-to-day basis.
It is not.
Okay.
But if I was to have never watched a video that has snow, if I was never to see it, read about it, or anything, if somebody
Well,
came to
those are
me today,
testimony.
yeah, testimony. I do accept testimony as evidence. That does count.
Yeah. But you wouldn't you were classifying testimony as not like strong enough for an extraordinary claim.
It depends on the testimony and depends on the claim itself. And again, there are levels of extraordinary and there are levels of claim of believability of testimonial evidence.
Right, but
So,
the problem is snow by your definition would be considered extraordinary if you've never experienced it. But the reason that you're not considering it extraordinary is because of the testimony.
No. So the reason why I am not considering snow as extraordinary is for a couple of reasons. I have experienced the cold. I have felt it getting cold at night. I have seen ice. I have experienced hail. I have experienced precipitation.
Well, hail is snow.
So in light of those things, it is reasonable for me to expect different forms of
Well,
precipitation.
hail is snow. So when you said you didn't experience
okay.
snow, you did experience snow. So that kind of like, I wish you would have told me at the start because then I would have went a different route.
Okay. Fair enough. I wouldn't classify hail as snow, but I do get what you're saying. We can
frozen water that falls
But
from
I
the sky. Yeah, it's same. It's just
Yes.
bigger.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I have experienced water freezing. I have experienced water coming down from the sky. It is reasonable to expect that frozen water would come down from the sky. So
Yeah,
even
but
though it's
in the form
I
of
have
in the form of a powder.
No, so that is something that I also have not experienced. So that is why it could be an extraordinary claim.
Okay.
But I have read.
Let's do a more extreme one then. Do you believe in abiogenesis?
So to be honest, I have not gone into depth into it. I believe it with a caveat. The caveat being that there seems to be the possibility of it and the scholarly consensus for it. I, however, have not come to my own determination of belief. So I do believe, just not. I'm not going to stand 10 toes down on that.
Okay, so you're willing to disregard abiogenesis based off the fact that we don't have any evidence for it?
Yeah, I'm not going to believe something until I have enough evidence.
Okay, so you're saying here on the live that abiogenesis is most likely not true.
No, I don't think you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not most likely true. I'm saying I don't have enough evidence to accept it as yet. There may be evidence. I have not looked at that.
Okay. So then would you say then the resurrection of Jesus is like, you wouldn't say it's most likely not true?
I would say the resurrection of Jesus is actually, I can't say it's most likely not true. What I can say is I have no evidence. I don't have, not actually, that's the wrong term. I don't have enough credible evidence to believe in the resurrection of Jesus.
Oh, okay, but you can't say it's most likely not true.
That is my personal belief. I don't think I can justify that belief per se.
Okay, so then you'd have to say that like there's an equal amount of priors. Like I'm not too sure if you're familiar with like priors and how it works. It's a 0 or a 1. 0 being it can't happen, 1 it will happen, like it's a guarantee. So you'd have to say like the resurrection of Jesus would be like a 0.5 just on priors, not on evidence.
Well, okay. So if you put it in that thing, I would say it is most likely not. My priors for that would be extremely.
Okay, so then what are the priors for abiogenesis?
0.5.
Okay, so why is it this thing that does not have any evidence for it have a 0.5, but then the resurrection has a lower point? Again,
because
sorry,
sure,
no, go ahead. Yeah.
So they are the steps that I do know that explain some parts of abiogenesis. So I have not gone into depth to explain it, but I have read about a couple of experiments. I honestly don't remember his name.
There's
Eurus or
literally
something like
no
that.
evidence for abiogenesis at all. It's
Not
just
for
it's just a
abiogenesis.
hypothesis that has the most explanatory power, assuming naturalism.
Okay, sure. In that case, it stands at a 0.5.
Why is it at a 0.5? Like it half could happen, half doesn't happen. But somebody like Jesus resurrecting, why is that a lower probability?
Because of the extraordinarity of that claim. So
Both
abiogenesis,
are extraordinary. Both is life coming from non-life. That's abiogenesis by definition is life coming from non-life. Jesus dying is non-life, and then life coming from that.
I think that's very different. So abiogenesis is
Mm-hmm.
the explanation of, I don't even know if it's single cellular, but the beginning of one single celled organism.
It's life coming from non-life. That is what abiogenesis
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Sure. But then it is also in concert with all other hypotheses that would explain where life would come from. That is something that nothing has been proven. There is no evidence for anything in that regard. So I cannot make any full belief claim either way, or there has been no evidence, no definitive proof.
But you're
no
right.
anything.
But you're saying the prior, right? So the prior, right? And priors is not evidence based. It's just based off of like, hey, what I currently know from my current knowledge and current way of the world works. There is zero reason to believe in abiogenesis, except for the fact that, hey, that seems like the best explanation considering naturalism. And you're saying there's also zero reason to believe in resurrections, but both is life coming from non-life. Why does abiogenesis get a 0.5 and like the resurrection get, you didn't even give me a decimal point, but you said it was lower.
It would be low. I think 0.01 if I was to be honest about that.
Yeah, so that's a dramatic difference. Why? What is the symmetry breaker between the two?
It is the symmetry breaker is again the difference in claims between the two. So what is
the difference in the claim? Because both is life coming from non-life.
That is an aspect of it. That is an aspect of the claim, life coming from non-life. But there's also the surrounding competing claims. There's the surrounding.
That's a vague reference into the ether. What surrounding completing claim raises the probability of abiogenesis?
So that is, I think you have kind of helped me explain it better. It is the probability of it. So in terms of where life came from, the probability for that is unknown. We have no idea. We cannot prove. We cannot identify. We cannot do anything. So any claim with
so then abiogenesis has a lower probability now?
Not quite. So it's not equal amongst all the claims, as in it's 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. It is 0.5 for all claims at the current moment for me. So
okay, then resurrection would have to be a 0.5.
Not quite, because there is multiple instances of people not resurrecting, billions, in fact. So
there's multiple incidences. Hold on, there's multiple incidences of life not coming from non-life.
Of life not coming from non-life.
It doesn't happen. We don't see it. So like every time I look at something that's not alive, I don't see life come from it. Every time I look at a dead body, I don't see it resurrect. So again, what's the symmetry breaker here?
The symmetry breaker is, and again, it is again the competing claim. So there is that that I mentioned of.
But see, listen, I think you're arguing in good faith, but I just don't think you understand what you're saying. You just keep saying it's a claim. It's the competing claim. You're saying the symmetry breaker is the claim in itself, but we're breaking it down to like a mathematical equation. You have life from non-life, situation A. B. You have life from non-life in situation A. What is the difference in the two, and why one has a higher probability versus the other?
Because, and this is, hold on, give me a second to collect my thoughts. So for one, there is an appeal to a higher power. It is,
so it's just the fact that it's supernatural.
I don't know if supernatural is the correct word, but yes, I can go with that for now. There is the
Okay,
supernatural
well,
claim.
so hold on. So is it just an appeal from a higher power? Would you say, can we classify? I disagree with, or sorry, I disagree with the natural and supernatural distinction. If you want to hold that view too, I'd be more than happy to. If you want to say
But
this
no,
higher power is natural power.
That's kind of why I disagree with classifying something as supernatural. If something is supernatural and it is creating the natural, it is, I think, natural in and
Beauty
of itself. Everything it
based,
does would be natural.
super based. Yeah, I'd agree with you. So then when you state higher power, what's the issue here?
The issue is it is an extra element on top of that. So
Well,
I do have
abiogenesis has to come from a higher power too, right? You cannot create or destroy energy. It has to be a higher form of energy that starts abiogenesis.
I wouldn't know about that. From what I do understand about it, it is the claim is understood processes did bring about the first single celled organism.
Well, we don't understand. If we understood what it was, we'd be able to replicate it or test it.
Fair enough. Sorry, I think I do have. My wife just got home, and I do have to take it. I mean, it's been a really interesting conversation. I think you had a number of good points I need to contend with, but thank you so much.
Honestly, man, yeah, you're an excellent interlocutor. If you have a couple seconds before you go, if you wouldn't mind just giving me a quick summary of why you don't believe in God, and then peace out.
So I think it does boil down to I have not experienced or seen enough evidence to convince me that a God exists.
All right, awesome, bro. All right, God bless, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Can we get W's for that guy? Huge W's. Huge W's. Abby, entertain the chat because I'm going to pee my pants.
Uh-oh. That would be something. Wendibert. Bert, do you want to talk? He's just rubbing his face on my desk. Come here, Bert. The people want to see you. They want to see you. Oh, they can't see you. There he is. What a cutie. I would say I probably influenced John's, maybe thinking about Christianity because we were around each other so much he kind of didn't have a choice. But I don't take any credit.
You want to pop?
No,
What do you mean he never sits on your lap?
I picked him up. I forced him. Didn't I, Bert? I forced you. For the people. But I would like to go to the bathroom.
I actually don't need a pop. Still have glass of water.
So
Finish that.
we're gonna switch out. Oh. Bye, Bert.
Hi, Bert. Everybody's doing their washing breaks right now. You didn't even entertain them, did you? You just sat there silently.
That's not true. I talked about Bert.
Bert is the talent. Amen. Amen. Oh. Ah. Just so everybody knows, this is Than's argument. This isn't my argument. He's been helping me with it. But got to give him props because the man's a freaking genius. Why is your wife wearing an... that's pretty funny. He's Christians because his girlfriend converted him. Caught me. That's the only reason. And the only reason, because I didn't have options. There's no options out there. I had to convert to find myself a significant other. Except for the fact that we weren't dating when I was an atheist. Who takes the time out to create a fake page to troll you? A super duper troll. Lots of people do that. Yeah. Flirts to convert. Who is a genius? Not many people. We'll say that. Oh my God, guys! When's the Holy Spirit inside? You're so edgy and funny. Oh ha 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 ha. Oh ha 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 ha. Look at me be so edgy. I'm gonna trigger all the Christians. Oh ha 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 ha. I'm trying to up my water take. The Templars had to be formed after the church got infected. What? He showed the world what hearts could do. How many times do Christians pray a week? I've prayed 3 times today. I just bragged. I lost my rewards in heaven. Dang. Dang. If Christianity's true, then prove it. If atheism's true, then prove it. See how that works? Well, atheism doesn't need to be any proof. It's the default. It's the default. We don't need to prove nothing. We're just true. We're just true. We don't need any proof. We're just the default, y'all. Hey, Big John, thanks for doing this. It helps me out a bunch. No problem. Thanks for watching. I was gonna see my baby is peeing pants at least 5 to. Hey, fair enough. Question for the men out there. I'm just curious if I'm the only one. This is gonna be a TMI question. How many of y'all pee out of the bottom of your shorts when you go use the washroom? What?
What?
Did you say something?
I said you're so cute, Brick.
Oh, just curious. How many men out here
What?
pee out of the bottom of the shorts when they go use the
Oh.
washroom?
That was so weird. Yeah, see, nobody does it.
I got one. I got one guy who does it. Bueller, he does it. Everybody else is like, what, bruh? What's wrong with me? I guess it's
That's what I want to hear every day.
Me and Bueller, I do it.
And
Listen, hear me out.
who
Hear me out.
Blue Truth Seeker.
Awesome. I got 3 of us. Hear me out. You're less likely to pee on your pants. It's less likely to happen. Not that it happens all the time, obviously, but you're less likely to do it if you just pull the bottom of your shorts up and do your business. But if you pull it out of the top of the shorts, you're more likely to. Right? Am I wrong in this? This is your husband. You actually married the 6 for 6.
I didn't know he did this before I married him, to be fair.
She walked in on me the other day doing it. She's like, what the hell? I wanted to see if I was the only one. I guess I am. Well, I guess there's a few of us, but I think it's more efficient, right? You're less likely to pee on your own shorts, right? Because there's no shorts in the way. And also men understand this too. If you don't have the zip down and pull out area, there's pressure and then pee gets stuck. It does. I'm just saying. Let's bring up another guest. Everybody's like, I am leaving now. And I wouldn't blame them. Peeing out of the bottom of your shorts is peak. Disprove it when it's hot. That's gonna be the next next live. Lore Wizard. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Lore Wizard. I can hear you. I'll give you 15 seconds. Well, yeah, that's going to be a huge delay. That's not going to work, bro. All right, God bless. He's going to listen to me via the video and then respond. That was not going to work. Okay, this one, I think this one's weird. You guys don't let your pants drop. That's weird.
Floor is dirty.
That's weird. Like, have you ever walked into somebody on the washroom and they are doing that at the urinal? Just full pants drop. ass hanging out. Like, if you can't do it at the urinal, you shouldn't do it. That one, I mean, you're less likely to pee on your pants, but no, heck no.
But you're more likely to get other people's pee on your pants. 'Cause have
Yeah.
you seen a men's washroom?
No, that's crazy. Scott? Oh, Scott, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? No problem. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll bring you in. All right. If Christianity's a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco. Go ahead.
All right. First off, way to just have smart, educational anything in the world is a good thing. I'm a world history teacher, and I would just say that my main argument is that the stories in Christianity follow a lot of the tropes of other fairy tales around the world. There's lots of stories about Immaculate Conception, whether it's of a perceived mortal hero or of some kind of supernatural figure, as well as tons of stories of resurrection. If you want to look up any of these things, you can just Google them. There's people who hang.
Okay, well, I'm
multiple
not gonna do your work for you, bro. So
Oh,
give me.
you definitely
yeah.
don't have to. I've studied this stuff for
Oh, yeah.
like
So give me
20
because correlation isn't causation. Can you give me a 1-to-1?
Okay, I'd say maybe one of the most similar things is Odin is claimed to have been hung for multiple days from Yggdrasil, as well as pierced with a spear in his side, and then later resurrected after a time that could be like regularly perceived by normal people as like potentially a coming back from the dead moment. Like I know people in my own life who have been resurrected after their
Okay.
heart
So
stopped.
what's your
like,
source?
Through a defibrillator or something.
What's your source with the Odin?
Well, reading these types of things is pretty easy. So there's a thing called the Havamal. It's an
Is
epic
it
Viking
in the
poem.
Havamah?
Yeah.
Okay, so where would I find it? Because I want to read it. Because a lot of people, they'll give me these
Google's
like
awesome, dude. You can just Google this word
I'm not
and
gonna
then
hold on. A lot of people will give me these stories and they'll say like, hey, it's a 1-to-1 comparison. So for example, they'll say I forget who it was, like Horus is from a virgin birth, but Horus like came out of a rock and then qualify that as a virgin birth. So I'd like to read where this story of Odin being hung for like 3 days, stabbed in the side, and rose from the dead after that. I'd be very interested to see that.
So it's hosted by the University of Pittsburgh. This word is spelled phonetically. It's pretty easy. Havamal, and you can see
Havamal.
Yeah.
Odin.
And then you can see the second link will be a host from the University of Pittsburgh, and it's
Okay.
an epic poem in the way that almost all history was recorded from most
Okay.
societies. Like,
Hold on.
oh,
Where?
okay, all good.
This one? I have it up on my screen.
Yeah, try that out.
Okay. And then where am I going?
Okay, so if you want,
also here's the thing too, right? You do know that the written events of anything in Norse pagan came after Christianity, right?
So being a world history teacher, that's one of the things that stinks the most is being like very often people did not write things contemporary term. Things were written later, and as a result, kind of like that game of telephone you might have played at like summer camp or something.
But hold on, you're just kind of ignoring what I said. You do agree that
I'm
it was
totally
written
agreeing
after.
with you. Yeah, that some of these things it's difficult to date, and then sometimes they were recorded some point later.
Okay, so even if we do read this, which we still haven't yet, is it possible that it was written after Jesus?
Well, we can just Google the source given in the top of the page, and then we can kind of read from there who
Well, you already conceded that it was written after. So if it's written after, then is it not logically possible that the story derived from Jesus rather than the other way around?
It was definitely translated into English after, sure.
Why are you not answering the question?
Okay, I said yes. That's definitely an answer to me. Sure means yes, right?
No, you said it is derived from English, sure, but I'm saying it being written down the very first time.
So in the time that you spent focusing on semantics, I Googled and people say it was probably written no earlier than 985. So yeah, it was probably written at some point after Jesus.
Okay. So semantics are important. Do you agree with this?
Well, agreeing on what you debate is important. Like when I did debate in high school, did it a
Okay.
bunch at a
I
lot of
think I'm
different
gonna move
levels. You
on because
often agree on
I've asked 5 questions.
definitions.
You haven't answered any of them.
I'm agreeing. Definitions are important.
Okay.
You often define terms before like
So it's
an
defining
official debate.
terms.
If you ever did
Okay.
that kind of
All
like
right. All right.
activity.
So it was written after Jesus. So is it logically possible that the story came from Jesus?
The possibility that a myth influences another myth is basically the cornerstone of my argument. So yeah, this could have been influenced by that myth.
That's begging the question.
Definitely labeling arguments as opposed to dissecting the meat of it is a big waste of time. So the most important thing to talk about here is just repetitive tropes and the appeal of those types of storytelling elements to an audience.
Okay.
That's the real core of what I'm saying.
Okay.
That people like the idea
Hold
of
on. Here's the
sacrifice.
issue. Here's the issue with the argument. Did World War II happen?
Okay, so sure, yeah.
Okay. Are there movies about World War II?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are all those movies about World War II factual movies? Or are they fiction? Are there some
Nope, they're
fiction
definitely
movies?
not. There's some like Inglorious Bastards, which is like a fun
Awesome.
fictional thing.
So if you see these consistent tropes in fiction with history movies, why don't you disregard World War II happening?
Okay. So there can be moments within an event, like for example, we could contest some of the miracles of Jesus while still possibly believing
You're
that
not answering
Jesus
my
is
question.
I totally am. I'm agreeing with you right now. I'm saying that you can agree that a thing happened, like World War II, or like the existence of a Jesus of Nazareth, but you can still at the same time say that specific
That's
stories
still
within
not
that
answering my question. My question is,
didn't happen.
why don't you disregard World War II?
Well, obviously, the main reason why anybody believes anything in the modern context is through photographic evidence, which will become a problem in the future with like AI slop and the ability for people to conjure up
Okay,
something
but
that didn't exist.
your argument is that you see these tropes happening in things that are fiction. So when you go back to the start, you're concluding that it's fiction. So why don't you do that with World War II?
Okay, I don't do it with the life of Jesus, man. So this is a big time waster. I've been enjoying
Right,
your stream a lot. Let's try to just focus on
your
the Jesus thing.
argument,
Let's
your
stop talking about a
argument,
different topic. It'd be more fun to your audience to focus on the core.
your argument was that you see these tropes in other places, but then you used a trope that came later after Jesus, and then you're saying, yes, myth inspires myth. And then I used the analogy of World War II. So why is it that even though Odin is a myth and it came later, this concludes that Jesus'
Try to
story
follow
is a
me
myth?
here. The transference
Can you
of
just can you just steel man my question? It doesn't feel like you're listening.
cultural diffusion does not
Can you
constantly
steel
occur.
man my question?
Dude, I'm totally agreeing with you on everything you're saying. I'm agreeing because I just want to hopefully have a productive conversation.
I
love
do too.
education
That's
so
why
much, man.
that's why I'm asking you to steel man it to know that we're having a productive conversation.
I'm right there with you. Yes. Just anything you say, I'll just say yes, just so we can try to focus on the main topic. That'd be great for the audience.
Steel man my question. We debate came in with $2.
You're Big John Steel. It's Steel Man.
All right, man. Appreciate your time. God bless.
Oh man, let's have a real talk.
You just agreeing to everything he said
I'm like,
isn't a real conversation either.
I'm like, steel man my question. He's like, yes. And then he says to me, let's have a real conversation to be genuine at the same time. Okay, fair enough. Wop Chop. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Steelman is a real thing. What are you talking about? Wop Chop. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. God bless. Nos. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Nos. Ex-Muslim based. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Gotta unmute yourself, bro. All right. God bless. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Do, 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 do. Ah, da, 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 da. I think we had another troll hit us
Oh.
because I just went through like 15 people in the queue and none of them came up. Emmanuel, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Emmanuel. Okay. Asmund, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Awesome. All right, bro, just 2 seconds. All right, man, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco. Go ahead.
So actually, my question was not to disprove Christianity. My question was about Christianity, if that is an acceptable question.
Sure.
So I started from Christianity, from a Christian home, left Christianity. I'm currently a pagan. I just feel lost, don't see a point in paganism, and I just kind of keep falling back in and seeing certain things just kind of co-align with prior faith. And I was wondering if you had any recommendations for that.
What were the recommendations for what exactly?
Finding I apologize. I don't think I'm articulating myself correctly. I apologize. So to get to the meat and bones of it, I'm struggling with not only accepting the term that God exists, but my cognitive brain coming from like growing up as a Christian. There's a clear strength, not a strength. I apologize. A clear indication that He does exist ingrained into my being, I guess would be the correct way to articulate that, if I'm making any sense. And I just don't know where to start, to be honest. I feel lost.
Fair. What do you want me to do for you? And I'm not saying that sounded condescending. I didn't mean it that way. It's a genuine question.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I just had what I'm looking for is maybe you could direct me to say, maybe start at a specific scripture or start like a research or something.
Well, what's stopping you from just believing?
I just have doubts that I'm worthy to be completely honest.
That you're worthy to?
Yeah, it's a real, that's a real answer. Yes.
Okay. Oh well, yeah.
I'm gonna stick with that answer because it hurts in my chest a little bit, and
most based
I think
answer
that's where I need to
ever.
go.
Yeah. The whole point of Christianity is you're not worthy to, and Jesus loves you anyways. That's the point. Right.
And to get down to with certain family, I had them, they believed a certain way of Christianity. I was raised a different way, and those conflicted. Ergo, I guess blaming God for that. What'd be the word for that? For that type of environment, I guess I'm holding resentment. I guess would be the.
Okay. Why is it God's fault, not your family's?
I guess I'm just looking for somebody to blame. I guess.
Oh, one up.
And I'm being genuine. I'm not trying to troll. I'm not trying to do nothing.
I don't think you are.
Trying to give
I don't think
proper thought to this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just you're just talking about like church hurt, bro. But it's not God who did it. It's God who offers the defeat of it. It's through God that all pain and suffering and evil will be defeated. Not right away. That's the process of sanctification. But the point of the gospel is that you're not worthy. I'm not worthy. None of us are worthy, but Jesus loves it anyway, and He paid the penalty for our sin, including the sin of whatever happened with you before, whatever they did. He paid that penalty too, and through the trust and guidance of Him, you will have what you desire, man. What you'll have is God, and that's ultimately what you're seeking.
I find it funny how you put that, because to me that kind of correlates back to Revelation chapter 3, and to not be all Bible-y, I'm quoting it from the movie Facing the Giants. The pastor comes in and says, Revelation chapter 3 says, we serve a God that opens doors that no one can shut. He shuts doors that no one can open. He says, behold, I have before you an open door that no one can shut. And then he speaks to the coach of the movie, and he says, Grant Taylor, until the Lord moves you, you are to bloom to where you are planted. And that just kind of spoke to me the way that you articulated that.
Based?
I guess it'd be pretty based. I guess I'm getting a holy hand slap, I guess, could be the
Well, I'd say this,
best way to put that.
man. Pascal's wager is often misunderstood as believe in God or go to hell. That's not Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager is participate and see what happens. If you're on the edge and you don't know, just act as if you believe and see what comes to fruition. And this is what I say that I think you should do, is just read the Gospel of Matthew, read Matthew 6, live your life as it says, truly try to follow what Jesus says and see what happens.
So from my understanding of how you're putting this, for my mental analogy, instead of tiptoeing on the edge of the knife, jump in on faith.
Just do it. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you'll waste a bit of your time being a better person.
It's like an experiment.
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize. This has been very enlightening for me.
Don't apologize. This is what it's here for.
You know what? I've literally had a come to Jesus moment.
Okay,
that's the best way I can put it.
Asman, I'll pray for you, and then
Go for it.
Start your journey. Lord, I just ask that you guide this young man into the truth and knowledge of who you are, and just show him what it's like to actually follow you. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Amen. I appreciate your time, and I do appreciate the explanation and allowing me to try to articulate it as best as I could.
Amen. Good luck on your journey. Chat, pray for Asman, and if you got more questions, you can hop up or join our Discord. Join the Discord.
I've been watching, and I'm still gonna keep watching.
Amen. God bless. Good
Have a
luck.
good one. God bless.
Based. Christian Killian came in and said, with $2, says, John, what do I believe about Calvinism? It is not true. It's not a heresy. But it's like a touch of heresy. So like in the Council of Orange, it's called double predestination, and it's a no-no. But I wouldn't call Calvinists heretics by any means. I would say they're Christian brothers and sisters. They just got a weird view of things. Weird view. Ginger, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Ginger. Gingerino. What?
Calvin says, how dare you call meism weird?
Yeah, I got like, listen, I've had some different groups of followers over the years. I right now, my group of like people who watch my channel, it's weird calling them followers, but like people who watch my content has been my favorite. Like everybody has good senses of humor, and that's one of the things I really enjoy. What's up, Pro-Life Chloe? I was actually going to reach out to you and see if you wanted to do a collab on abortion debates one day. I just have yet to do it. Lore Wizard. Hello, how are you? And just real... You're back? Oh, you can hear me. Yes, awesome. Yeah. All right, man, give me hold on. Give me 2 seconds, I'll bring you in. I know you're excited. All right. All right, man, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
All right, so that's like a funny premise, right? Because what is the burden of proof? Are you familiar with that concept?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm very familiar with the concept of the burden of
Because
proof.
it's like,
Hold on. You asked
right?
me a question.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you say it's a fairy tale, then the burden of proof is on you.
Okay, I'm not saying it's a fairy tale necessarily, but I think the question of is it a fairy tale could also be worded as, is it true? Is Christianity like to be believed, right? Is that a fair thing to say?
Those two things don't go hand in hand, no.
Oh, because like fairy tale to me is a story that's just fictitious, right?
Yeah, you can
What is a
classify
fairy tale
it.
to you?
Yeah, but no historian would classify it as fictitious. or not, no historian would classify it as a fairy tale, nor would they classify it as fictitious. They would say that there is a historical practice of like expansion, where they just take certain ideas and expand upon it into like this idea.
Well,
of,
I guess
like,
if you're
mythos.
only interested in the debate of whether or not the Christianity is a fairy tale, then I can't say that I'm going to argue for that. I can't argue that Christianity is a fairy tale in that sense, but I could argue
Another
that it's
W
not
in the books.
necessarily true.
I got another W in the books. No.
But it's only because you're strictly defining fairy tale in such a way that there's no point even making that argument.
No, I am putting up fairy tale because of the literal hundreds of atheists over the years who told me I believe in nothing but a fairy tale.
Okay, well, I don't think those guys are necessarily right, but I do think they have a point in that there's like a lot of aspects to the religion which are kind of like dishonest.
Okay, well now that's also a claim.
It is. I'm claiming that it's dishonest because it makes some claims that it hasn't backed up.
Well, that's not. That's not
Right.
how dishonesty works.
So I'm claiming that my claim is based on it not backing itself up, and we can go and look at that, right?
Okay. Just real quick, do you believe aliens are possible?
Are they possible? Sure.
Okay. What is anything that's backed it up?
I said they're possible. I don't think we have any evidence that they exist. We can't say that there are aliens yet.
Yeah, but you said they're possible, but
yeah, they're possible because we haven't.
You're not making the claim that the idea of aliens is just dishonesty.
No, and I'll go ahead and I'll say I think Christianity is possible.
Yeah, but you stated that we're being dishonest.
I think there are dishonest elements to the religion, yeah.
Okay, then but your claim of dishonesty is I haven't seen any evidence for it. Well, I haven't seen any evidence for aliens, so anybody who claims aliens is dishonest.
Well, yeah, if you're claiming there's proof of aliens, then I'd have to see your proof.
No, just the fact that aliens are possible.
Yeah, they're possible. Yes, that's not really a determinative statement. Like you're not saying they're real. You're not saying
is the resurrection of Jesus Christ possible?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't say his resurrection was possible.
Okay, so now you have to break the symmetry. Why is aliens possible but not the resurrection?
Because aliens is like we don't know what an alien could be. An alien is just
an alien that is a living creature that does not live on Earth.
Yeah, so that could exist because we haven't explored every inch of outer space. So there could be a part of outer space where that life exists.
Okay, there'd be a part of outer space where God exists.
I mean, that's true too, yeah.
Okay, so then why isn't resurrection possible?
I mean, okay, look, I'm not a human biologist, but so I can't say resurrection is strictly impossible. But I think that hold on,
just hold on, just to be clear. I'll let you finish, but it's just a clarifying question, right? Yeah. So you said at first it was impossible, but now you're stating it is possible.
I said I think it's impossible, and now I'm saying there's technically a very small possibility because I don't understand everything about like existence. But I do think there's a lot of people who really do understand human biology who would agree with me in saying that it's unlikely that a human came back to life after dying.
All right. So let's go through this. What from a 0 to a 1, right? So 0. What is the probability that aliens exist?
I have no idea.
No,
like,
that's
low, like a 2 maybe. But I can't. I don't have any reason to.
Well, so hold on. So hold on. Let me clarify. This is called a prior, right? This is not based off of knowledge. This is just based off of like a presupposition. If you were just to assume, what is your prior disposition that aliens could exist from a 0 to a 1?
If I was to take a random guess, well, not random, but if I was to take a guess based on what I think about aliens, I would say maybe a 2.
A 0.2.
Yeah, like a 2 out of 10, like on a scale 1 to 10 chance they exist.
Okay, and then same question for the resurrection.
I would put that as less likely, just a 1.
Okay, why?
Because aliens are like a more broad and more likely possibility than a human, because we know about humans.
That's just begging
body and how it operates. We don't know about how an alien could work.
That's just begging the question.
So, no, but you know that doctors exist and that we've studied human physiology and that we can heal people with diseases and that we know what death is.
Right, but begging the question is assuming the naturalistic worldview.
Okay, what question am I begging? Could you explain that concept?
Yeah, so you're assuming through naturalism we know how bodies operate, so our bodies don't resurrect. But the question at hand here is that it is not a naturalistic event. This is like a divine revelation. So
right. Okay.
Why
And
is
the reason
one?
I don't believe this is because there would have to be a divine body,
I still wasn't
a
done my
non-human
question.
human.
Still wasn't done
I
my
don't
question.
see how it's begging the question. I see it as you're saying something might have happened. I
It's
said I don't think
begging
it's
the.
likely.
My goodness, you talk a lot, man.
I
So
do.
it's begging the question because you're presupposing naturalism.
I'm presupposing naturalism. How?
Because you're presupposing the naturalistic method is the only means to determine something.
I'm not being deterministic at all. We're talking in probabilities. And you asked me to give you basically a guess on how likely a possible non-deterministic event may have been. I don't think we're really in the realm of begging any questions at all. You asked me a question about
I don't understand
probabilities.
anything that you just said.
All right, that's because we've gone really off track. We're talking about
We haven't got off
possibilities and
track.
not-
We're talking about prior probabilities, right?
Okay, I said that the resurrection of Jesus wasn't likely.
I need you to slow down by like 2 notches. Okay.
Okay.
Because we keep talking
Maybe we
past
should
each other.
clear up what we're talking about then. We should clear up the debate.
Okay. That's like the 17th time that you keep jumping in the middle of the point where I'm asking a question.
Well, you're using terms like presupposing naturalism, and I asked you to define that, and you said I presuppose the naturalist.
I'm trying to, but you won't shut up.
those words with the own words that they are.
I'm trying to, but you won't shut up.
Okay.
That's the point. I'm trying to explain these things. You're asking questions.
Talk.
You're still going.
Go.
Okay.
I'm not going.
You've never seen aliens, never interacted with aliens. You say it's a higher prior to a point 2. You've never seen people rise from the dead, but you say it's a lower prior to point 1. What is the symmetry breaker here?
You know what? Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I'll rate them both as a 2. Just to say they're equally as likely or unlikely as each other.
Okay, so you think a resurrection is just as likely as aliens existing?
I think neither of them have been proven to happen.
Right, that's not the question I'm asking you.
Yeah, and I don't think the question you're asking me is really relevant.
It is relevant because it's based off priors, right?
You're asking me two events.
Still answering your
which...
question. Still answering your question.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking me, it's relevant because we're talking about priors. Priors is going to determine whether or not you believe in evidence when it's presented to you.
Okay, I would believe evidence for either of these if they were presented to me.
Okay, phenomenal. All right, so premise 1, the historical evidence for Jesus' crucifixion is sufficient to warrant a rational belief in that event.
Yeah, if there's sufficient evidence, yeah, I would believe it.
That's not the premise, so let's try it again.
All right, sorry, I didn't quite hear you. You talked very fast.
The historical evidence for Jesus' crucifixion is sufficient to warrant a rational belief in that event.
Yes, yeah, for sure, actually.
Okay, premise 2. The historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for the crucifixion.
I disagree.
Okay. Why is it not?
What is the evidence?
It's the same.
Okay, so we both agreed.
The same document that says that he was crucified is the same document that says he resurrected.
Okay, but we have like... Okay, well, I haven't checked that evidence, but I assumed we had the cross where he was crucified on somewhere, or like some written testimonies of how he was crucified, right? Okay, wait, if we don't even have that, what evidence do we... Maybe the evidence isn't sufficient. Like, what evidence do we have for this?
Okay, so now you're disagreeing with premise 1?
I would say that Jesus was probably crucified. The fact, like,
okay, hold on. You're going all over the place. So let's just go back.
Okay, well, these are the two things we were talking about.
Premise 1: the historical evidence for Jesus' crucifixion is sufficient to warrant a rational belief in that event.
All right, I'll go back and I'll say that I don't know because I haven't seen the evidence.
Okay, so are you saying that the majority of scholarship is wrong to say this?
I don't know what the majority of scholarship is, but if you could cite that to me, then I'd agree with you.
Yeah, so John Dominic Rousseau says one of the most assured things that we have in history is that Jesus Christ was crucified, and he's not a Christian.
Okay, well, if John Dominic Rousseau is a smart guy, then sure, but I don't really know him.
He's an historian.
There's lots of historians, and a lot of them disagree on stuff.
Okay, can you give me a single historian in antiquity that says Jesus wasn't crucified? That teaches antiquity.
I'm on the internet. I could look one up. Probably.
So you're not going to find one. That's what I'm saying.
I'll do it right now if you want to.
So hold on,
because
because you're not listening fully. A single historian that teaches antiquity.
I think we're having like a fundamental disagreement here because, like, to me, a single historian claiming something isn't like strong proof that
That's not what I said.
Okay, what did you say?
That almost all of them say this.
Almost all of them.
As a matter of fact,
if almost all historians say that Jesus was crucified, then I'll go ahead and agree with that statement without checking it right now.
As a matter of fact, there's only a couple that don't, and they are not allowed to teach. They cannot go to a university and teach.
Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean much other than that the government's views are aligned with Christianity, though, and that they...
No, because John Dominic Cresson's not a Christian. Neither is Bart Ehrman.
Okay, well, that's good, then. That's more stronger evidence towards this, what was the word, premise?
Is this real conversation? Okay.
Yeah, it is a real conversation.
All right. Okay. Premise 2: the historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for the crucifixion.
I don't know. Let's go over the evidence. That's the thing about evidence. You gotta analyze it.
The same document that says that Jesus Christ was crucified also says he resurrected. So like Matthew,
I have a lot of trouble believing that. Because I feel like people could have been lied to.
So are you telling me that the Gospel of Matthew doesn't say that he resurrected?
Historians could have analyzed false writings that wrote a fictitious story about Jesus.
I think this is like talking to a wall. I'm gonna move on. Appreciate you though. That hurt my teeth. Wapachop. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, I can hear you. How old are you? All right, let me bring you in. All right, man, if Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it, win a taco.
I'd love that taco. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I think the terminology fairy tale is pretty interesting, like the previous caller said. I think, yeah, you can say a fictional story, and I would say that's a fair definition of a fairy tale. God, yeah, where to begin? So I've always looked at the Bible's text as quite interesting, as it always seems to refer to numerics all the time. We go back to 12s and, you know, the equinoxes and the passage of the sun through the zodiac and stuff like that. And I kind of feel like
passage of the sun to the zodiac.
It's potentially a misinterpreted text.
Well, hold on. Pause. Like, I agree there's numerology in scripture and it's loaded with it. But what is this about the zodiac? Passage of the sun through the zodiac?
So, hold on a second. Let me get my scripture up. So, the greatest story ever told. Essentially, there's a really good documentary called Zeitgeist. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Sorry.
You don't like it? You don't like it? Brother, come on, man. This is a good documentary.
The Zeitgeist, literally the documentary Zeitgeist has been discredited by every single scholar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to dispute that because I haven't actually checked that. I watched this when I was much younger, and I've always been an atheist, and the documentary really sat with me, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe that's why the terminologies are used the way they are. But that doesn't detract from the fact that I've always been an atheist. Like when I was like 5 years old, I used to get taken to church all the time by my mother, and I'd sit there and I'd listen to these sermons, and it was the parables that got me. It was the parables where I was like, are we really going to believe this? Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting amongst adults that are hearing these fantastical tales and fairy tales. This is where the terminology fairy tales, I think, sits quite nicely, where, you know, a 5-year-old sitting amongst adults listening to this, you know, talking snakes. I'm sorry, I draw the line at talking snakes, you know, and
why?
Why? Because there's never been a record of a talking snake.
Yes, there is. It's in Genesis.
than in Genesis. Yeah, I kind of feel like that.
It's also a very common ancient Near East motif. The talking snake represented wisdom and like Babylonian content, so it's very common in the ancient Near East.
So obviously, there's a severe lack of subjects. Do you know what I mean? There's not that many instances of people capturing talking snakes and getting their opinions. You know, there's no culture based behind the talking snake.
Okay, so your argument is I haven't seen it. We don't see it today, so therefore
it's
it's
not that.
false.
No, it's not that. It's that historically they haven't been able to document it. Me not
Well,
seeing
hold on.
something does no,
I'm not
me
talking
not
about you specifically. I'm talking about society.
Yeah, because me not seeing something doesn't mean something isn't real. Do you know
Okay,
what I mean?
so
I've never seen the Southern Cross of the solar system.
we
But I
don't see
know
it
it's
as a
real.
society, so therefore it's false.
Yeah, sure. That's a
Okay,
pretty good premise.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. So Pluto didn't exist until we saw it.
But we did.
No.
This-
Well,
this
hold
is
on.
we did see it,
Don't
though.
dodge
But
my
we
question.
did.
Don't dodge my
We
question.
did.
Did Pluto exist before we saw it?
Yeah, it did exist.
Okay,
But
so
we
then
did see it. But we did see it.
Hold on, please let me finish. Right? So then it's not the fact that it doesn't exist until we see it, it's the fact that you can't know, right?
Yes, I actually really like that argument because there's a brilliant definition of religion that it is. I put it in the chat earlier. It's a continually receding pool of ignorance that gets smaller with every discovery that humans make.
Okay,
Before
hold on.
scientific
You're
discovery,
completely trying to ignore what I'm trying to say here and chaining off on somewhere else. Okay, so your argument
it ties
is
in perfectly with what you just said. I think it really does.
your argument is that we don't see it, so therefore it's false. I just showed you that doesn't work because if that was the case, Pluto didn't exist until we saw it. So the only thing that you can claim is we don't know until we see it, right?
No, hold on. No, you're twisting my words here, brother.
I'm not twisting your words. That's the logical conclusion. ALC came in with $5. Says internet atheist sophists are proof of talking snakes. Thank you so much for the money.
What's this?
Appreciate you, ALC.
Sophists. What's a sophist?
Don't worry about it. Just address the questions.
Oh, okay. Well, essentially, yeah, I do think that as a society, when we make a discovery, it either it almost always chips away at the mythos, and that's going right back.
You're just ignoring what I'm saying. Like I didn't even say it.
What do you want me to answer? What do you want me to say?
Okay, so did Pluto exist before we discovered it?
Of course it did. I've already answered this. Yeah.
Okay, so if Pluto existed before we discovered it, then you can't say it's false until we have evidence. You just simply have to say I don't know.
Okay, so what you're saying about talking snakes? You think they could exist?
Well, you have to say I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to make an educated guess here, just based on what I know about snake biology. I'm going to say they don't exist. They don't have vocal cords. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's call an apple an apple. Like it if we this is why I brought up the talking snake, because it is one of the most extreme examples of something that's hard to believe.
If we found a snake that talks, would you say that snake doesn't exist?
No, I'd be happy that we found the talking snake because it would be like a huge discovery. And unlike most religious people that will,
I don't know why every question requires a book of an answer.
Hey man, come on! I want to talk. Let me talk.
But you're just going on big tangents, right? Let's just stick to the debate, my friend.
All right. Well, yeah, I'd be overwhelmed with joy if we found talking snakes, man.
Okay, so you cannot just disregard something saying it doesn't happen because we don't see it, right?
I think you can make a pretty educated guess. You can't disregard it. There's always you know what they say, there's never a 0% chance of being picked up by a pterodactyl. It's so silly, but it's always a possibility. We don't know that there's no pterodactyls and they might just scoop you up out of a field one day. There's never zero, but you can almost guarantee it's not going to happen to you. And you can almost guarantee that there's a lot of almost. And I think that's really important as well, because scientists don't talk in absolutes. Whereas I think that's the problem with religion. It's kind of, have you finished me?
Oh, you can hear that?
No, I can't hear that. Sorry, but
Oh.
yeah, you went mute for a second.
Yeah, well, you just, like I said, you just went on a tangent. I just don't want to cut you off again because then everybody accused me of cutting people off when they go on tangents. Michael Evans came in $5, says, I'm super late, but shorts leg abusers unite. Who's time to unite the shorts?
Untie.
Untie, sorry. Untie, untie
So
the shorts.
what would be the response to that? That, you know, a pterodactyl might just pick you up out of your home right now? Is that because it's just because we've never seen it happen to humans? Is that not as ridiculous as the argument premised earlier that talking snakes might exist?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is you simply just can't look at something and say, there's a talking snake in it, therefore all of it's false. That's my point.
Okay, but that part, can we not agree that that's kind of silly?
No.
That's kind of silly that a talking snake
No.
convinced Eve to eat
Okay,
an apple.
so hold on. So let's play this hypothetical. If God is real, what are the chances of a talking snake happening?
Whatever he wants it to be. It's if he wants it to happen and he is real, then all he's got to do is imagine it and it'll be real. So 100% if he wants a talking snake.
I'm not talking about his desire. I'm just talking overall. What are the odds?
If God, you said specifically, if God is real,
Yes.
which I don't believe, but if I believed that, then God is all powerful, right? He can do whatever he wants. So 100%.
So there's 100.
Yeah,
So
100%
I don't think you understand our probability. It's not 100% chance, like, because of course you'd have to have a desire, but it's a lot higher than if God didn't exist, right?
Yeah, like exponentially higher. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
think talking snakes evolve. Yeah.
Right. So that when you say there's no such thing as talking snakes, so therefore all of it's false, is begging the question.
I'm picking a starting point. It's very difficult. The actual question you've asked, what you've asked viewers to do, is quite difficult, and you do need a linchpin to an argument. Not an argument, a debate. I'm not arguing with anyone. And I think, yeah, that's my starting point. The beginning, Genesis. I think it's a pretty good starting point, to be honest.
Okay. Can you just address what I said?
About what? I thought I did, man. I keep answering your questions, and you keep asking me.
Okay,
to
what was
address
my
what I
question?
said. So your question was, if you haven't seen something, how can you say it didn't exist?
No, that wasn't my question.
No. Okay. Well, I felt like that was the question. What was the question?
The question was started on the basis: if God is real, what are the chances that or if God is real, what are the chances you could have a talking snake? You said really high. So when you say there's no such thing as talking snakes, is that not begging the question?
Begging the question of what, if God is real or not?
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, obviously, I don't believe God is real, and you do believe God is real. So that's why we have these differing opinions. Is that a satisfactory answer?
Not? No. Is it begging the question?
Begging the question. Define that. What do you mean? Like
begging the question is when you use your conclusion in your argument.
Okay. How can I not though? What answer could I give?
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to use a conclusion to make an argument. You're supposed to use an argument to come to a conclusion. So your argument here is God doesn't exist, so God doesn't exist.
No, not at all. No, my argument begun with the unlikeliness of talking snakes.
Right, but that's the thing. What is the likelihood you'd have a talking snake if God existed?
A lot higher than if he didn't. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying it's unlikely to have talking snakes. So you're saying God doesn't exist. Your argument is God doesn't exist because God doesn't exist.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for explaining. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's difficult to imagine what it would like to not be an atheist if you've been an atheist your whole life. It's very hard to falsely presume that there is a God when you don't believe there's a God. Just like it must be for you to be very hard to not believe there is a God.
I was an atheist for 30 years.
Yeah, I know, and you're not now. So it's like, again, you've seen the light, right? So you've turned your back on those atheist views. So I'm sure if I see the light, it'll be hard for me to imagine a life where there wasn't God in it. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is the problem is in your epistemology. You're saying they have a talking snake. Talking snakes are ridiculous. Therefore, Christianity isn't true. If you saw talking snakes everywhere all the time, and you saw in Christianity, it talked about a talking snake, would you not just conclude, oh, it's just another talking snake, nothing special here?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
I think
So
anyone would.
So you kind of have a self-fulfilling argument. No matter what, you're always just going to be convinced of atheism because you have a criteria that is unfalsifiable.
I don't know, man. Like, I think just the fact that you're using very, very potent argument techniques to get around the fact that talking snakes don't exist. Let's be real.
That's begging the question.
But they don't. They don't exist.
That's begging the question.
You know, you're saying about the historical authors, like all of them agree that Jesus and Nazareth exists. Yeah, all of them. And then the few that don't, you know, so you're relying on intellectuals' premise there to make an
No,
argument.
I don't rely
Well,
on it. I can make the argument for.
okay,
Hold
okay.
on. You're just misrepresenting me. Let me clarify. I can make the argument for Jesus' existence without relying on scholars. It's just
Okay.
quicker to do so in these short debate formats, right? If
I
I was
lived
to
in the
do,
Everglades for a long
hold on,
time, dude,
hold on. I can make the argument for Jesus Christ's resurrection and reliability of the Gospels without reciting a single scholar. I can do that, but it would take me about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even an hour to do so. It's just quicker and easier to say, hey, this is the consensus. Do you disagree with it and why? Yeah.
That's the whole premise of, you know, passing knowledge down so that you don't have to store an entire generation's worth of knowledge in your own head. You can just look at a book, someone who knew better than you before you,
You
and go for their
didn't
research.
listen to me at all, man. I think it's
No,
time
no,
to move
I'm
on.
listening to you right now, man.
No, you didn't.
I am, dude. I'm agreeing with you.
No, you're not. It's because I just said I do have that information in my head. And you said that's the whole point, is not to store that information in your head.
Well, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so you're not listening.
I'll be honest. You're making this a very difficult. You're not
good.
Yeah, I know you don't want to give the tackle away. I understand that.
Well, it's because I'm right. It's difficult because I'm right.
So there are talking snakes, is what you're saying.
There's a talking snake. There's at least one.
Okay.
And a talking donkey too.
Seriously, honestly, Mary's donkey spoke. I didn't know that.
Mary's donkey didn't speak. No.
Oh,
Balaam's donkey spoke.
Right. Okay. That's the only.
And he was a bit of an ass.
I knew about. All right. Yeah, I get that. That was. I was going to go on to the next, the most improbable part.
Rob James came in with $2. Says parents don't have vocal cords, but they can talk. Parrots. Sorry.
Parrots. Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. Scientific point. I was going to go on to the divine immaculate conception again as well. What's more likely, that Mary was unfaithful to her husband, or that she was, you know, impregnated by the creator of the universe?
You just showed me you haven't even read the Bible. You just proved it in one sentence.
How?
Because the first thing that Joseph said is Mary cheated. That's the very first. You unfaithful. And then what happened? Joseph had a revelation from the angel, and the angel took away his voice. And so Joseph's testimony is one of the reasons to believe that she didn't cheat, is because the first thing he said is, you're a cheater, and he was going to annul their marriage. And then it wasn't until he had divine revelation and he was like, no, okay, I was wrong.
Which one of the angels was it that visited him?
It was Gabriel. Also, Gabriel came in with $2, says John's joke was brought to you by cheese. Thank you, bro.
Okay, so he got a visit from the big dog, Gabriel.
Yeah, okay, hold on. To every Catholic in the chat, relax about the Immaculate Conception thing. That's not the debate we want to have right now. It's a different conversation.
So, to me, again, that's just as implausible as talking snakes. And I am going to use that as evidence.
Begging the question.
Can disagree with it. You can disagree with it. Honestly, these are the things.
Okay,
that
I'll simply, if God is real, what is the likelihood that somebody could have an Immaculate Conception?
If God is real, you're begging the question.
That's not begging the question.
You're begging the question,
not begging
man.
the question.
You're doing exactly what I just
That's
did.
not begging the question.
How? Okay, define how that's not begging the question. If God is real, and then follow.
Because I'm not coming to a conclusion.
Are you sure you're not coming to a conclusion? You've already started with your conclusion. If God is real,
I'm not making a conclusion. I'm not making an argument. I am showing the flaws in your argument. That's why it's not begging the question, because I'm not coming to a conclusion.
Are you not?
No.
So when you say if God is real, what's the likelihood of there being an immaculate conception?
I'm asking
That's a
you.
question.
And I say, as likely as there isn't. You know, it's a 50-50 really. If God's real, you know, anything's possible if God's real.
Right. So then you simply stating that it doesn't happen, therefore God's not real, is begging the question.
I'm sorry, but there is actually a scientific journal that states in all of scientific like research, there has never been a mammal that has reproduced asexually ever. That just has never happened. And we are mammals.
Still
Like
begging the question.
it's not.
Yes,
I'm
you're
not saying,
presupposing
I'm not,
God's not real.
I haven't said that God
Okay,
isn't
hold on.
real. All
Oh
I've
my
said is,
freaking God. There's got
as
to be a
far
way
as
to
as
get through to
far
you
as
on this.
our
All right, hold on.
human
Listen, Linda.
capacity to
Listen,
know.
Linda. If mammals reproduced asexually all the time, would you think that the Immaculate Conception was significant?
No. Okay. And then the last one would have been the resurrection. That would have been my last point. That would have been, you know, another implausible.
I'm just gonna let you do this. Can you summarize real quick for me why you don't believe in God?
There are too many fantastical events that can't be replicated in any way, shape, or form.
All right, man. Appreciate your time. God bless. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Thank you.
No problem. He's a nice guy. He was a nice guy. Abby, entertain the masses.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I need to go for a jog.
That was good. Oh. I do have the buttons. I just don't really use them. I have them right here.
Linda, listen, Linda. Listen.
I don't like to interrupt, so I have a hard time using them because it feels like I'm interrupting the conversation. Thanks, Shannon.
Abby, I just realized something.
Yeah.
You can't brush your teeth anymore.
Why?
Because it says right here, keep out of reach of children.
Ha. Do I get bored listening to these arguments? I get bored on Muslim Monday because it's the same thing over and over and over and over. Muslim Monday.
Muslim Monday is awful.
I don't really get bored on the other days because generally the conversations are different.
Also, guys, Muslim Monday this week, we're going to have the one, the only Nick. I forget his last name. All of a sudden, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Nick's going to be joining me on Monday this week for Muslim Monday for the whole live. He's promised me. So, also, W's for pop. W's for pop. L's for soda. L's for Nick SWZ. Yeah. Fearless Truth is joining us on Monday. So when you see him live, make sure that you're commenting. I can't wait to see you on John's live because he's got a bad habit of dipping on me last minute. So
call him out.
Call him out. Call him out. All right, let's bring in another guest. Somebody said, "Oh my God, he's Canadian." You know what? Fair. A lot of Canadians are just awful. Nos, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Well, if you can't hear me, we can't go forward. Gentlemen. Yes, can you hear me now? All right, man. I'll bring you in. Just give me 2 seconds. All right, man. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco. Also, that was one of the cutest things I've ever heard.
Thanks. I only had a hand in it. I'm not exactly sure. I would like the prompt. I wouldn't say it's a fairy tale.
Okay.
I would probably say it's more along the lines of a legend, as there are like actual places where the Bible did take place. But I'm not like I'm only here just to say that because like a fairy tale to me is more about magical creatures and a place that does not exist. Does that make sense?
Well, would you classify like Spider-Man as fairy tale?
No, it'd be more along the lines of like a legend or
Spider-Man's legend.
Yeah, well, I would say like since it is telling more so about like morals and ethics and has like a underlying like theme about what is good and evil, then it'd be more along the lines of a legend since it is supposed to be taking place in an actual place such as New York. But if you were to tell me about Gotham, then that would fall based on my criteria under a fairy tale. So what I'm saying is that Christianity is more of a legend that has yes.
So I think I think. Okay, in all fairness, yeah. Okay, it's not considered fairy tale. You got a little weird feedback coming in. Do you hear that, Abby, or was that just me?
I think he's opening a snack.
Yeah, I was hoping it's
no, like the muffle kind of water sound that happens.
Oh, sorry. I had to hold my phone and then also do the snack. Yes, but this wasn't my main point. I just didn't want to say that it's a fairy tale when I don't actually believe that it is a fairy tale. It's more of a legend.
Okay, but you're still classifying it as yeah. That echoes not just me, as other people in the chat too.
It's when you're talking. Is he on speakerphone?
I am on speakerphone. If I take it off speakerphone, I can't see you. So hold on a second. I've never called into a place before, so I don't exactly know how to take it off speakerphone.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Do you have headphones?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I'm just gotta find one. Sorry, hold on. All right, is that better?
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Hello, hello.
Hello.
No, it's still there, man. We might not be able to move forward.
Ah, man, this is my second time trying to get through.
I apologize.
Yeah, I know it's not technology, and I guess my lack of knowledge on how to use this website.
Well, thanks for coming up, and God bless you and your family.
Thank you. You as well.
Peace. Yeah, that was hurting my head too. Abby's got more patience for that than I do, I've noticed.
Because I'm used to tuning out your nonsense.
Based. Colt. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, just 1 second. All right, man. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
Well, what I would say is it's up to you to provide evidence because you're the one making the claim
What claim did I make?
that Christianity is true and that Jesus Christ is God.
When did I make that claim?
Well, but that's what you believe, correct?
Yeah, but I'm not making a claim right now. Draco came in $1.09. Can you explain what is the gospel in depth? Yeah, but not right now.
So you're saying it's up to me to disprove Christianity rather than Christians prove that their religion is true?
Nope, it's up to you to prove it's a fairy tale.
So if someone says that Bigfoot's that Bigfoot's real, and it's up to me to disprove that Bigfoot's real, or is it up to them to prove that Bigfoot is true?
They made a claim.
If they made a claim, they would have to prove it.
Okay, sure. Okay, okay, sure. With Christianity, um, I guess we could start with the Gospels. We don't know who wrote the Gospels. That's number one, right?
Okay.
We don't know.
So let's start there. We don't know who wrote the Gospels. My question is, if we don't know who wrote the Gospels, why is it that every single manuscript that we have ever found has a name attributed to it, and every single writing we have of the Gospels in antiquity attributes it to either the apostles and their followers, which was who those two people were, or gives a specific name to it? And thirdly, why we have nobody in antiquity who contests original authorship?
Okay, well, for the first one, what's your first manuscript? Well, what century is your first manuscript that has that has their names attributed to it?
So full completed to be like in the 2nd century.
I'm pretty sure it's in the fourth. Is it not? Codex Sinaiticus?
Codex Sinaiticus
Papyrus.
would be a completed New Testament. We're talking like completed books or just manuscript copies.
Yeah, but we know that those were added later on.
How?
Well, we know that the Gospels were circulating without names for a good while. That's why, like, the
How do we
Gospel
know
according
that?
to Matthew, according to like literally every scholar, Christian included.
How? That's not answering the question. How do you know that?
It's just the scholarly consensus.
Oh, okay, but you're still not answering my question. If every manuscript copy that we found that has the areas where the names are attributed has a name attributed to it, and everybody in church antiquity agrees on the early names, and there's no argumentation with it in early church, why are you saying it's anonymous?
Okay, are you saying that there's universal attestation, or are you saying like which one do you want me to address first?
Anyone?
Okay, well, with the universal attestation one, you said that every single one agreed to it. Well, the first early church father that we have that attributes these are Irenaeus in 180.
Papias.
No, Papias is unreliable. Papias is unreliable.
That's still a source.
No, it isn't, because the Gospel of Matthew that he referenced is not the Gospel of Matthew that we have now.
How
He
do
said
you
the
know?
Gospel of because he said the Gospel of Matthew is a narration of sayings written in Hebrew. Our Gospel of Matthew is not a narration of sayings, and it's written in Greek. So he's not
So
referring to our
how do you
Matthew.
know we didn't have a copy that was in Hebrew? And Matthew does have sayings in it. And he doesn't say sayings,
not-
he just says Hebrew.
No, he says it's a narration of sayings written in Hebrew. It's not a narration of sayings. It's a story.
Okay, give me the source.
I mean, okay. Papias, what he said about. I know you probably don't like him, but on the Bar Ehrman blog is one, is it
Well,
not?
I just have Papias quotes here. I can just read it for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Matthew composed the oracles, logia, in the Hebrew dialect, and each person interpreted them as the best he could.
Yeah, and so Matthew composed the sayings in the Hebrew tongue. Oracles and Hebrew sayings are the same thing.
No, it's not.
What's oracles?
Oracle is a legend, the terms, the source, the story. Sayings is just sayings, the collective of like individual, like what would be sayings would be like the what is it called, the book in the Old Testament that's not the Psalms, collection of sayings. Proverbs. Yeah, so Proverbs would be like sayings. Christian Killian came in with $2, says, and you think it's a sin to dye your hair any color? No. So anyways, what is your evidence that it's anonymous?
Well, our Gospel of Matthew isn't written in Hebrew; it's written in Greek. So it's not our gospel. So it's not our gospel that he's referring to. He's not referring to the same book. He's not referring to the same gospel.
How does that conclude that it's anonymous? That just concludes that we don't have the original Hebrew autographs.
Yeah, but the only surviving manuscripts of Matthew are written in Greek or anything in the New Testament, and the New Testament was composed in Greek, was it not?
So, how does that prove it's anonymous?
Because he's not referring to. You can't use Papias as a source because he, as a person, because he's not referring to our gospel.
Even if I didn't conclude that, again, all that would prove is that Matthew originally wrote in Hebrew and it was translated to Koine.
Yeah,
That's
but
all
we don't
that
have
would
evidence
prove.
of that. We don't have evidence of that.
Lack of evidence is not evidence.
You can't make the claim.
I'm not making a claim. I'm saying that's the only conclusion that you can come from that. Not that they were anonymous. How do you come to the conclusion that it's anonymous because Papias said it was written in Hebrew?
Because he's not. If Papias is saying it's written in Hebrew, and we know that the Matthew was first composed in Greek.
How do you know that?
That's the only surviving manuscripts that we have.
Do we have the original autographs?
No.
Then how do you know it was composed originally in Greek?
That's the only surviving manuscripts that we have.
Do we have the original autographs?
No. That's the only the survive. We don't have any, but here, like how do I like the only manuscripts of Matthew that we have. The earliest manuscript of Matthew that we have is written in Greek.
Okay. So again, how does that prove not original authorship?
Here I'll show you.
Justin Young came in with $5 and says, if the Gospels were written by the authors they attribute to, then Alexander Hamilton didn't write the Federalist Papers. This is actually true. Most things in history don't even have names ascribed to them, yet we say, who is it? The Life of Plutarch. The Life of Plutarch is technically anonymous, yet we say Plutarch wrote it.
Yeah, but this is different because you're making because this is a divine, divine stories, like making a claim
What
that if you
difference
don't
does
believe
that
in this,
make?
of course,
How the hell does that make a difference? Because they're making it divine, now they're anonymous?
No, because the standards of evidence have now reached higher, and we want to know who truly wrote it to see.
What?
Yeah,
Okay, so hold on. If I write something down and I make a divine claim, it's now more likely to be anonymous than if I didn't make a divine claim?
No, the burden of proof is higher, and we want more evidence that you wrote that. Because we want, obviously, if you're making a divine claim saying that the Son of God who's divine roamed the earth, we want to know who wrote that. And if it's
Why
an
isn't it?
actual
Why is it
eyewitness.
not that he could just be the original author and lied? Why isn't that a higher standard than it was anonymous?
I'm sorry, what?
Because somebody had to be the original author, right? How is it that is the dumbest logic I've ever heard? I'm sorry, my friend, that because somebody made a divine claim, it's more likely that it's anonymous?
I didn't say it's more likely to be anonymous. It's that we need more evidence that it isn't.
Why?
Obviously, the burden of proof is higher. You ever heard the saying, the more extraordinary a claim is, the extraordinary evidence you need for that claim?
Yeah, but it's not an extraordinary claim to say somebody authored something.
No, it's an extraordinary claim to claim that the divine Son of God roamed the earth. So you need extraordinary evidence for
the
that.
divine Son roaming the earth, not the guy writing about it.
The guy writing about it is correlated to that because we want to know who wrote the Gospels and if they're eyewitness testimonies to see if what they're saying is true.
Are you AI?
How am I AI?
How does that logically follow? Okay, hold on. Do we need more evidence that Stan Lee wrote Spider-Man than somebody wrote a history book?
We don't. I mean, both aren't really. It's not an extraordinary there's no extraordinary claim with it.
There's no extraordinary claims in Spider-Man?
No, the other.
Do we need more evidence to prove that Stan Lee wrote Spider-Man than we
already
do?
know Spider-Man is false.
That's not the question I'm asking you. Do we need more evidence to prove Stan Lee wrote Spider-Man than somebody wrote a history book?
No, because Spider-Man does not make a truth claim. The Gospels do.
You're changing your standard. You said if somebody makes an extraordinary claim, you need a higher standard of evidence to prove that they wrote it.
Obviously, if they're saying that claim is true, then yeah, an extraordinary claim. You're claiming something is true. You need extraordinary evidence for that claim, right?
Okay, so if Stan Lee wrote about Spider-Man and said Spider-Man was actually a real person, will we now need more proof that Stan Lee wrote it?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I would have said that's where.
So we would need more. So just because Stan Lee says that Spider-Man's a real person, we need more evidence to prove Stan Lee actually wrote Spider-Man.
Well, we need to know if Stan Lee's an eyewitness, just like how we need to know.
No, that's not the question I'm asking you. We're just talking about authorship. We're not talking about whether the authors were true.
Yeah, well, we want to know who made that claim. We want to know who's saying it, and then we move on from that.
That's not the question at hand. Do you need more evidence to prove Stan Lee wrote Spider-Man because he claims Spider-Man's actually real?
Yeah. Yes. That's the first step I would go, and then
How long was the bus that you rode to school?
Huh?
How long was the bus that you rode to school?
What? What do you mean?
How long was the bus that you rode to school?
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
like 13 minutes.
No, like how the length of the actual bus.
I'm confused the question that you're asking.
All right. Just real quickly, can you summarize why you don't believe in God?
Okay, sure. I mean, okay, yeah, like I mean, the scholarly consensus, like, no scholar believes that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'll give you other evidences. For example, like for John's gospel.
No,
right?
pause.
John's,
You're just going into original authorship. Can you just summarize why you don't believe in God?
I don't believe. I don't believe in the Christian God. I'm telling you, I don't believe in the Christian God.
Can you summarize why you don't believe in God?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why I don't. I'm gonna summarize why I don't believe in the Christian God. Can I do that?
Appreciate your time. God bless.
Are we?
It's just a straight up question. Just answer it. Brother Doink came in $5, says, by the logic, the burden of proof of higher scientific claims that the universe was created, how man and animals were created, etc. That is the most wildest claim I've ever heard in my life. That if somebody writes something that is fiction, but then claims it's true, you need more proof that they actually wrote it. You need a higher level of proof that they were the original author. That's insane. Oh, Ginger's back. Hello, Ginger. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, bro. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right, man. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
Awesome. So I can prove 2 things on this call. I can prove Christianity is a fairy tale.
Okay.
And I can prove that, at least based on your logic in these arguments and in previous arguments, that based on your logic, you probably shouldn't be following Christianity.
Okay, let's do it.
So first, we'll talk about fairy tale, right? So before we get into this, we'll have to define 2 things, right? What is a fairy tale?
Yeah, like in this context, I just say something that's straight fiction with the intent to be fiction.
So you're saying that in order for it to qualify as a fairy tale, it has to be 100% fictitious?
No, I say something that is fiction with the intent to be fiction. So.
Okay, well then what do you qualify as fiction?
Something that's not true.
Does it have to be 100% not true or in part not true?
It could be, I'd say it's the majority with the intent to be fiction, to be fake, to not be true. Like you can have a fiction that has like some truth claims in it, right? So you can read a fairy tale that has like a truth claim that, people in colder climates tend to be more hairy or something like this. Like that could be a truth claim. I'm not saying that's necessarily true. I'm just giving a vague reference, but the book is still considered a fairy tale.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I would accept a fairy tale as a fabricated story in part or in full, intended to deceive. And I can provide examples of fairy tales. Yeah.
So it's like so Harry Potter is intended to like deceive us?
Well, like you said, a fiction that is intended to be not true. I would say something not true would be
deception and not truth are not always the same, right? Like,
well, I mean, we can interchange it in this situation, right? Well, you said intended to not be true, so I could say a fabricated story intended to not be true.
I don't think I'd interchange that because I wouldn't say Harry Potter has the intention to deceive people. But I would classify
right. I'm not talking about
tale.
Harry Potter. I'm talking about Christianity. So that's why I said in this instance,
you said we need to define terms of what fairy tales are first.
Yes.
So if you're just saying it doesn't matter what one fairy tale is because we're talking about Christianity, it's special pleading.
Okay, so let me stay on point here and not get off the rails on Harry Potter. So that would be the common accepted definition: something resembling a fairy tale in being magical, idealized, or extremely happy. A fabricated story, especially one intended to deceive. And I
disagree with the term that it's intended to deceive.
Yes, and as I said, I will grant you the interchange with what you had said originally, your definition of a fairy tale, which would be a fabricated or fictitious story intended to be fictitious instead of intended to deceive. I'm granting
Those aren't
you
interchangeable though. Yeah. One is malicious.
Well, if they're not interchangeable, then what he's asking me to prove Christianity is not a fairy tale, right? So either we interchange it or we're talking about the definition of something else.
So just the colloquial definition is a children's story about magical or imaginary beings and lands. That's the colloquial definition. But again, my term, because you're talking about if it has intended to deceive, then that's a problem, because then you're going to say like every fairy tale book out there was intended to deceive people, to trick them, right? You could tell something that's not true without the intent to deceive. I
So
could
are
give like a
we?
parable. I could give like parable poetry. I could give hyperbole. These things aren't true, but it's not intended to deceive people.
So are we going to accept the interchange or not? Are we just going to pick
No.
the definition that was provided to me?
I'm not accepting the interchange.
Okay, so then we're going off of my definition then. If you don't want to accept the interchange,
No, if you're saying accept the interchange or accept my definition is saying the same thing. Because if you're saying they're interchangeable, then you're saying it's your definition.
well, I can send you a link to the Oxford Dictionary, which says a fabricated story, especially one intended to deceive. And I am granting you the interchange from that definition to the one you provided at the beginning of this debate.
Yes,
so the interchange would
don't-
be going with your definition originally.
It's
Are you
not
willing to accept that?
interchangeable. That's what I'm saying. Something could be something could be fictitious with not the intent to deceive. Right? If I give a hyperbole technically isn't true. Am I deceiving someone?
Well, that depends. Are you claiming it to be true?
Just repeat what I said and see if that's what I said.
You said hyperbole.
If I give person hyperbole, right, is my intent to deceive them into saying the hyperbole actually is. If I say my wife is heavy as an elephant, am I actually saying she weighs the actual amount of an elephant? Is that my intent, is to convince her that her weight is the equivalent to an actual elephant?
Well, I guess that depends on who you're talking to. I mean, hyperbole is not meant to be taken
Bro,
literally, but
bro,
depending on
stop.
who you're talking
Okay,
to, it
okay,
could
listen,
be taken
listen,
literally.
listen. I hope you take this as constructive criticism. Stop being a jackass. And just kind of like answer the question.
I did just answer the question.
No, you didn't. When have you ever heard
There's
anybody...
no way you're calling me a jackass.
When
but
have you ever
you're
heard
saying that
anybody
people are
ever
riding
in
the
your
short
life...
bus, dude.
When
Come
have
on.
you ever heard anybody in your life actually use metaphor hyperbole in the sense to be literal? Give me one actual example.
Well, like I just said, it depends on the person
No,
you're talking
that's
to.
a hypothetical. Give me an actual example.
I just told you it depends on the person you're talking
That's a
to. and how it's
hypothetical.
perceived.
Give me an actual example. Do you
I
know what the
don't have
difference
an
between a
example of
hypothetical is?
I don't have an example of a specific person taking hyperbole literally.
That's not what I asked. I asked, give me a specific example where people are intending hyperbole in a very literal sense, trying to deceive people with hyperbole.
I feel like we're getting off the rails here. I mean, I
It's
I
not
will
off
admit I
the
do not have
rails.
an example of that, but I'm trying
It's
to
not
stay
off the
on
rails.
the topic.
You're not trying to stay on it. It's a very specific and straight up question, right? I use
And I just told you
hyperbole-
I don't have an example. I answered your question.
It just shows that you're being dishonest and you're not arguing in good faith.
I'm not.
Because you in your very everyday life, if somebody says that you're glowing, right? Then you don't think that you're actually glowing, do you? You don't think that you're actually radiating light?
No, but I'm trying to define fairy tale here. I
Do
feel like
you
we spent
actually
too
assume
long-
that you're irradiating light?
No, I do not.
All right, so
I
then you
answered
can
that.
use something that is fictitious that's not intended to deceive, right?
Yes.
Cool.
And that was my point, was do we go with your definition or do we go with the accepted
You said the
definition?
two are interchangeable. Deception and fictitious are the same thing.
I would say in this debate they could be.
All right. I don't think you're arguing in good faith, sir.
I am. I haven't even defined what we're trying to debate against here. I feel like it's fair and acceptable to try to define it. I am willing to go with your definition of the fairy tale. Without all of this extra stuff and calling me a jackass, I'm willing to just move past that.
Well,
and
no,
go
no,
with
I
your
didn't say
definition. Is
you're a
that okay?
jackass. I said you're being a jackass. And you were. Listen, man, you're probably a nice guy. We probably get along just fine over a couple beers and having a steak on the
Can we
barbecue.
go with your definition here?
But you were being a jackass.
Can we go with your definition here of a fairy
Yes.
tale?
Yes.
Okay, so something fictitious intended to be fictitious. All right.
Yes.
Now, to be clear, does it
Just
have to be
just pause real
100%?
quick. This is just like a personal pet peeve. I'll let you go. I'm not trying to cut you off. Somebody said ad hominem. This is not an ad hominem. Insulting somebody is not ad hominem. I just want to be very clear. People use this all the time. It's just a personal pet peeve. Ad hominem is if I would have said he's wrong because he's a jackass. That's would be an ad hominem. But simply just calling someone a jackass isn't an ad hominem. Ad hominem is when you use the insult to discredit the argument. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So now that we've defined what a fairy tale is, right?
Mhm.
My question is, does a fairy tale have to be 100% fictitious or only partly fictitious?
I thought we already clarified this.
We might have, but I feel like we got off the rails. I forgot what we came to an agreement on there. So I just wanted to re-clarify.
Majority, not 100%.
All right, good. Because I did have examples of things that are considered fairy tales that are based on real people or real events.
Yeah, that's
So
like that's what I said earlier, right? Is that you could have something that's a fairy tale, but they can use real things that are true. Like
Awesome.
simply saying somebody wears a dress is a truth claim. So then therefore by that it wouldn't be 100% fictitious.
All right, so we have, let me just write this down here. Fairy tale equals fictitious intending to be fictitious.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now my question for you is, do you believe the Bible? Actually, well, before I say that, what do we define Christianity as? I think we should be clear on that.
Is following the creed, is being a creedal Christian. So basically following the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed.
So believing Jesus Christ died for your sins?
That's part of the creed.
Based on the teachings from the Bible?
Teachings from the Bible and from tradition and culture.
I would rather stick to the book, not necessarily culture.
I'm not a sola scriptura guy. I don't hold to the Bible alone.
All right, fair enough. So do you believe the Bible to be 100% accurate? Do you believe the creeds and the teachings that you would base Christianity on to be 100% accurate?
How is a teaching 100% accurate? How would one determine that? Right. So if Jesus says, love thy neighbor, how do we determine that as like accurate or inaccurate?
Do you believe that it's 100% accurate that Jesus said that statement?
I believe Jesus said, love thy neighbor. Yes.
So you believe that the teachings you were taught and the creed and the at least the parts of the Bible that apply to your Christian faith to be 100% accurate?
What depends on what you're referring to here. Because do I think there are some things in scripture that didn't actually happen? Yes.
Okay, well that was a future question, but I'm glad that you answered that. So what I mean by that is, do you believe that the accounts saying Jesus said X and Jesus said Y, and the accounts that God wants you to follow X rule and Y rule, and essentially all of the accounts?
This is like a huge scoping thing that are going to have multiple answers.
So do you believe it to be 100% true that you should be following this?
Well,
right?
do I think
these are
no,
correct
because
because
there are some parts of the Bible that are descriptive. You don't follow descriptive things.
Again, I'm not talking about those parts of the Bible. I'm talking specifically what you believe in. Do you believe it to be 100% accurate, that these things happened and that it's right for you to believe in them and that this is God's way?
Depends on the parts you're talking about.
The parts that you believe in.
Yes, I believe in the things I believe in. Which things are those?
You believe them to be accurate, right?
Well, yeah, no. You asked me the part. I asked which parts, and you said the parts that you believe in. Yes, the parts I believe in, I believe in.
All right, I feel like I'm not going to get a straightforward answer to that.
That is a straightforward answer. You're asking a very vague, like a huge, broadening scope of an answer. So, for example, do I think Jesus actually walked around and preached in Galilee? Yes. Do I think all the words in the Bible are verbatim what he said? Probably not. They are probably getting the gist of what he said and giving the idea and the meaning for meaning. Do I think when he gives a parable of the wedding feast that wedding feast actually happened? No, I don't think the wedding feast actually happened because he's giving a parable. right? And there's also good argumentation that maybe Job isn't a real person, but the entire book of Job is a parable that's meant to convey a meaning, and that he wasn't an actual historical figure. Whether I hold to that or not is irrelevant, but some Christians do, some Christians don't. So you're using this broad idea of like, do you take it all to be hyper literal true? Well, no, I don't, but there are parts I do, and it's going to be based off context.
Okay, well, I appreciate the answer. So going into my next point, since you admit that some parts of the Bible are likely to not be true, right? How do you feel about the teachings in the Bible warning of false prophets and people who intend to deceive the followers of Christ with false teachings and false prophecy?
Huh?
How do you feel about the parts of the Bible that warn of false prophets and false teachings intending to deceive the followers of Christ?
How do I feel about it?
Do you feel that that is a true and fair warning? Or do you feel like that's another fictitious part of the Bible?
Well, I didn't say things were fictitious.
You said you believe some of the things in the Bible did not happen. That would be fictitious.
So again, if I use okay, let's just be clear on how we're using the word fictitious here. If I give hyperbole, am I being fictitious?
I would say yes. Fictitious is just something that is not true.
Okay, so in that context, yes, then I'd say there are some things that are fictitious. Sure. What was your next question?
So do you believe that it is an accurate teaching that there are false prophets who intend to deceive the followers of Christ with false teachings?
No, it says be wary of false prophets.
So you believe that they exist, right? That's
so
implying
what
that
it
they
says.
exist.
What it says: if somebody comes and does X, Y, and Z, you should not trust them. Santos came in and says this feels like a deposition. Yeah. So yeah, if somebody comes and does that X, Y, and Z, I'm probably not going to trust them. No.
So you think that the Bible stating that to be wary of false prophets implies that false prophets exist, right?
The Bible stating be wary of false prophets. Which part of the Bible are you quoting?
Let me pull this up here. Jesus himself cautioned his followers, beware of false prophets who come to
What
you in sheep's
verse?
clothing. I'm going to give you the verse at the end. Please
No,
let
no,
me finish.
give me the verse first.
Matthew 7:15. Beware of false prophets who come to you.
Hold on. We're going to pull it up together and we'll read it together as a team. Just relax. Right? Very excited. It's okay.
You asked me a question and then I
asked you to give me the verse
me.
and then you just minted to spew it, right? So, all right. Matthew 7:15. Enter through the narrow gate, for the wide gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and may enter through it. Be small is gate is narrow, and the wide leads to life, and only a few. Beware false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. But the fruit you will recognize them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes and figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, and bad trees bears bad fruits. A good tree cannot bear good fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear bad fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit, cut down through the fire. So then by fruit, you'll be recognized by them. Okay, so the Orthodox viewpoint and the term that the way this word prophet is being used, prophet would have been a church leader, not specifically a church, but like a synagogue leader, basically anybody that was in charge of leading a congregation would have been considered a prophet. That we can see in the context here because it's talking about their fruits and their teachings.
Okay, awesome. So we've defined that false prophet would be a church leader.
No.
Now, in that
That's
context,
not,
right?
In this context, in this context, it's talking about people who are leading congregations. Somebody who's trying
right.
to
Not
guide
all
you and
church
teach you.
leaders, but a church leader who is
Well, not so. Here's the thing. All church leaders in context are prophets. Not all prophets are church leaders, if that makes sense. So you have people who could prophesy; they'd be considered prophets as well. But there were people that were like who would lead the church, and they were also considered prophets.
So just to make sure I'm being clear on what the Orthodox view is here. So a false prophet in this context would be a church leader. This would not apply to all church leaders, just church leaders who are intending to deceive and mislead followers of Christ, correct?
This is just saying if you have somebody who's claiming to be like a leader, you'll know them by their fruits. This is what's happening.
Right, but they would be having false teachings, correct?
Yeah, it says you'll know them by the fruits.
All right. So that brings me to my next point, right? So if the Bible itself warns about false teachings and false prophets, are you aware of how many times the Bible has been revisioned and translated?
Yeah, once.
Well, it's been translated into 3,756 languages.
Yeah, so
and
once.
it has been revised many times, including the King James version.
So it's translated once into 300,000, whatever you said it was.
It's been translated multiple times. It's been translated from Greek to Hebrew, Hebrew to other languages, Greek to other languages.
So it's translated once into those other languages.
I would say if it goes from Greek to Hebrew and then to another language, that is multiple translations.
It didn't go from Greek to Hebrew. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen?
No. What you're thinking of is Latin. It went from Greek to Latin, and then the Latin Vulgate was used for a standard for a long time. But then we went back to the Greek, and so we have the original Koine Greek, and we translate from the Koine Greek to our modern translations now. So it's translated once.
Okay. I'll grant you the it's translated once point. My next point should still stand here. Would you acknowledge that if it is translated or revised in any way, that there is an opportunity for these false prophets that the very Bible itself warns about to put false teachings into the Bible, up to and including inaccurate depictions of who we should be worshiping, up until the point that maybe Christ is not the one we should be following, that maybe there is a different son of God?
Right? Is it possible? Sure. Is it possible that magic pixies push the moon around the earth?
That's hyperbole.
No, it's not.
I feel like you're not intending that to be a truthful statement.
Yeah. Is it possible that magic pixies push the moon around the earth?
So you're saying that it's just as likely that magic pixies push the moon around the earth as it is that false prophets alter the word of God?
No, I never said that. I never said that at all.
Then what's the point of the comparison?
Is it possible?
From my point of view, no.
It's impossible that magic. So it's a zero.
From my point of view, yes. I just don't see how this is related.
So you're making the claim that no matter what, even if somebody showed you a magic pixies don't exist.
In that case, I would say yeah, it's possible.
Okay, so it's possible that magic pixies push it around.
Sure.
Okay, but it's not likely, right?
I would say it's not likely. No.
Right. So you just simply stating that is it possible people could have altered it doesn't make it likely.
But hold on, would that be a fairy tale? Saying that the pixies push the moon around the earth? Would that qualify as a fairy tale?
Not if pixies are actually pushing the moon around the earth. Then it wouldn't be.
Right. So you admit that it is possible that the teachings of God have been altered.
Just like it's possible that magic pixies push the moon around the earth. Sure.
Sure. Okay. So we admit that it is possible. And you've also already admitted that parts of the Bible are not necessarily true accounts of what actually happened, and that may be hyperbole.
The parts that are using hyperbole and conveying intended meaning, sure, yeah.
And you've acknowledged that parts of the Bible could be considered fictitious, that they didn't actually happen?
This is parts that are intended to give hyperbole or convey certain meanings, yes.
Okay, so I think we've sort of met several definitions for fairy tale here. It is at least in part fictitious. Parts of the Bible.
That wasn't our definition. You're changing our definition. No, you're changing our definition because originally we established that the majority, that it's intended to, a majority that is fictitious with the intention to be fictitious. Now you're saying, oh, there's part fictitious, so therefore it's fairy tale. No, you're changing your definition.
I was not. I just wasn't allowed.
You literally just said in part. You literally said in part.
And there was about to be another statement after that was going to cover the other parts of the Bible.
But if you're saying in part, you still haven't proved
not allowed
it's fairy
to finish.
tale. But if it doesn't matter, because if you say in part, it's not a fairy tale. Because if it's in part, it doesn't meet the first qualifier.
Well, I can rephrase it and then follow it up with the next statement that was cut off that would cover.
It doesn't matter. You could give 7,000 statements. If it doesn't meet the first qualifier, it doesn't meet the qualifier.
Well, can I be allowed to finish before you say it does not meet the qualifier?
If the first part, it doesn't mean, listen, if first statement is majority fictitious, and then your first qualifier is that it's not majority, it's only partially fictitious, it doesn't meet the first qualifier, so it fails, even if
Well,
it meets all the
why
other
I wish to
qualifiers.
rephrase it. What I mean is in part fictitious from your point of view, that there are things that you believe, at least in small part, to have not actually happened. And then additionally, with my other point, that it is possible that the Bible has been altered, right? We could take other parts of the Bible to also be fictitious.
So it doesn't
without
meet the
direct
original
evidence.
criteria. The original criteria is majority fictitious with the intent to be fictitious.
Well,
that was the criteria.
The intent would be if false prophets had altered the Bible.
But you haven't proved that. You just stated it's possible.
But
that doesn't prove anything.
Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it have happened?
So you're okay.
The Bible
hold on.
already warns of
all right,
false
fine,
prophets.
fine. Magic fairies push the moon around the earth. Why wouldn't
it have happened? Right? You said that it's as likely as magic fairies. I didn't say that. You said that it's as likely as magic fairies.
So your
saying
argument is, hold on. This is your argument. This is your insane argument. Is that it's possible. Therefore, until you prove me wrong, it's true.
No.
How is it not?
That is not my argument.
Okay,
my argument is the Bible. The Bible itself. The Bible itself warns of false prophets and false teachings.
Yeah.
Right. Therefore, it is very likely that parts of the Bible and Christianity have been altered.
How does that make it likely?
Why would the Bible warn about it if it's not going to happen?
What part does it say they're going to rewrite the Bible? As a matter of fact, in Revelation, it says if you try to rewrite it, you'll be cursed.
Being cursed doesn't mean that you can't do it.
So why does it make it likely that they rewrite it? Just because false prophets are there?
Why would the Bible warn of something if it's not going to happen?
It doesn't warn that they're going to rewrite the Bible, you buffoon.
Well, that would be false teachings, would it not? If they rewrote the Bible, and
giving
tried to
a
pass
false
it off
teaching does not mean you go and change the old teaching.
Would that not be a false teaching?
It would be, but just because it is a false teaching doesn't mean it's the only false teaching and the false teaching that one would do.
So your claim is that
I'm not making a claim. There is no claim here.
That verse.
There's no claim here.
There's no
claim here. There's no claim here.
So you're saying that verse about false prophets does not apply to them potentially.
I am not making a
altering
claim
the
here.
teachings.
There is no claim here. At no point did I make a claim.
I'm claiming that logically, if the Bible warns about false prophets and false teachings, and you believe that to be true, then you should be skeptical of not just the parts of the Bible that you are sure to be fictitious or hyperbole. But
Why can't I just say it's like the Book of Mormon is a false teaching? The Book of Mormon can exist without altering the Bible, yeah?
Yeah.
So then why do I need to presuppose that people altered the Bible?
Because why would you not be wary of the Bible if they're warning you of false prophets?
That's answering my question with a question.
Yeah, I did answer your question with a question.
All right, man. Just real quick, summarize why you don't believe in God.
I didn't say I don't believe in God. I just don't believe in Christianity.
Okay, real quick.
I feel like it's a fairy tale, and I feel like I proved that.
The only thing you proved is that basic logic classes need to be taught in high school, and it needs to be a mandatory class.
That was like the dumbest stretch I've ever heard.
When my wife is calling you dumb, you know she is a freaking one of the nicest people I've met. And so when she does it, you know you messed up. Timmy G Yo came in with $2, says average Reddit user. I agree.
I think you also missed his super chat.
Oh, did I? If you don't mind looking for it. Building Finis Up came with $4.99. I don't believe the Bible, but I'm going to use the Bible as evidence.
Santos. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
You are on, it's all in caps. You are on trial, Big John Steele, for your crimes of believing in the things you believe in. How do you plead?
Guilty. That was the craziest thing ever. It's like, which parts of the Bible do you believe on? Well, or which parts do you mean when you ask me which ones I believe? The parts that you believe. Yes, I believe the parts that I believe. All right, let's move on to the
He
next
also
things.
made the definition. He also made like parables to be fictitious.
Yeah.
And then was like, you said part of it is fictitious. And you're like, but that's not what parable is.
It's not a fairy tale, no. No.
It's not fiction, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Malep, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Malep?
Oh!
And that's why we keep it muted.
Oh,
That was loud.
that was really loud. Be grateful you didn't hear that.
What time do we got? 4:20. We'll go a little longer today because we started later. Are you okay with that?
How much later?
We won't go past 5.
I still need to go get groceries.
Is that okay?
Yeah, just dinner will be
Late?
late.
It's okay. If you're okay with it. Hello?
Yeah, that's fine. I already ate today. You didn't.
Okay. Kaser Pie. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, God bless. Dave, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Somebody said she's not okay with it. You guys, something that's an important lesson I need to give in life. Oh, we got feedback. Yeah, but we got feedback. Test 1, 2. Nope, still there. Test 1, 2. There we go. All right, man. How old are you? All right, let me bring you in. All right, man. If Christianity is a fairy tale, prove it. Win a taco.
All right, yeah. So following kind of the last guy's approach, I think it would be helpful for me just to agree on what we're saying a fairy tale is. So would you say, for example, Islam is a fairy tale?
No.
Okay. Would you say Harry Potter is a fairy tale?
Yes.
Okay. And could you give your working definition of a fairy tale one more time?
So something that is majority fictitious, intended to be fictitious, and conveyed as like a fictitious narrative.
Okay, so would you say something like Scientology is a fairy tale?
I think, yeah, by definition, because it derived from fiction novels.
So, okay. We might agree. Like, I don't know if this might just be kind of a semantical argument on what a fairy tale is, rather than the truth, like whether there's any truth to it. So, yeah, we might just agree.
Cool. Another W. Is that it?
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure if I was going to join or not, and might have not thought it through as well as I could have. So sorry about that.
No problem. Are you atheist?
I'd say I'm agnostic. Like, I think I'm interested by your types of arguments because I think they're more logical than some of the other things I've seen, and they're not as easy to like necessarily like I think you're coming at it from a good lens. So I that's kind of what drew me into this. I'd say I'd lean atheist, but would prefer to not be an atheist.
What's stopping you?
I just don't think it's true. Like, I think the idea of religion is good, but I personally have a hard time thinking that it's what's the word I'm looking for? That it's like completely true rather than kind of more like metaphorical or something along those lines.
Okay, so what's stopping you from believing it's true?
I guess I don't know if I could have a framework that would allow me to accept religion is true while still kind of coming to the correct conclusions on non-religious matters.
Like what? You're basically stating you believe in something, religion contradicts that, so therefore you can't believe in religion. What is the contradiction?
Like it's almost like I would have to kind of suspend my belief in kind of everything that like kind of the naturalist world that I've observed my whole life.
You seem very nice, and I don't think you're being in bad faith. But when I ask you the question, you kind of just give like a vague reference. I'm asking like for like a specific example.
So a specific example of what in religion that I think is not true, or sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Your statement here is that you believe certain things. Religion contradicts those things, so therefore religion has to be false, right? This is in formal logic. This would be called modus tollens. You're saying if A then P, not P then not A. So you're saying you have a contradiction, so therefore not P here in this situation. What is that contradiction?
Like I think there's kind of many examples of something that would like only be true in religion, like a religious context that otherwise aren't true. Like we were talking about it earlier, like a talking snake, just coming back from the dead generally, like parting the Red Sea, kind of anything like of these kind of fantastical claims. I have a hard time believing.
You said there's something in your natural world that you believe. What is the thing in the natural world you believe that contradicts Christianity?
Like, I guess people don't come back from the dead might be one thing.
Okay, well, if God is real, what is the likelihood that somebody could come back from the dead?
I don't know how I could assess the likelihood. I would say it would be possible.
But would you say it's a lot more likely than it is if God is not real?
I would, yeah.
Okay, so do you not see the problem in looking at a piece of evidence and saying that evidence doesn't happen, so therefore it's false?
I don't know if I'm necessarily saying therefore it's false. It's more based on that evidence. That's what I believe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm agnostic, so I don't know for sure. But
yeah, fair enough. But you kind of are, and the reason you kind of are is because you're saying people don't rise from the dead. So when I see someone rise from the dead, I disregard it. The problem is, if God is real, people could absolutely rise from the dead, and something like a resurrection, like Jesus's resurrection, could be, or is more likely to be true if God is also real. So you're looking at the evidence of God and saying, I don't believe it because I don't believe these things can happen. Do you understand?
like I guess if I took like if something like Scientology, which I think most people could say is probably false. I think not a lot of people would stand behind it. I could still probably say it's possible it's true, but based on everything I know, it seems more likely.
Yeah, that's not my argument. I think I'm speaking past you a little bit. So you're looking at something like a resurrection. You're saying resurrections don't happen. That's your current understanding. So you're saying I don't believe in that resurrection because resurrections don't happen. Except if God existed, resurrections could happen. And not only could they happen, they'd be a lot more likely. So you're disregarding the evidence because of your prior disposition to just disregard the evidence. I don't think that's how we should do things. I think we should look at things, and even if it's like Sherlock Holmes says, if we take something and how did he say the idea is if you look at all possibilities and no matter what is left, no matter how improbable, has to be true, right? So if the resurrection is the best explanation, considering all the data, then we should conclude it's true, unless you're just going to say, well, I don't believe it because those things don't happen, which again is just kind of like begging the question. You're just saying, I don't believe in miracles. That's a miracle, so therefore it's false.
Or yeah, I guess I'm not saying that. I'm saying the evidence isn't convincing. Like I don't think that's. I agree it's possible. I just don't find the evidence alone convincing. It seems much more likely to me that it's kind of a creation by humans, and there's kind of a lot of theological incentives for why they would kind of settle on this description.
But you can't say that resurrections don't happen, therefore it's false, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. So to the extent I was saying that before, that was kind of just a mistake in my argumentation, but I agree with your point there.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you a syllogism here, formal logic that leads to a conclusion, and we'll see where you disagree. All right. So premise 1, the historical evidence for Jesus' crucifixion is sufficient to warrant a rational belief in that event. Do you agree with this?
His crucifixion, yes, I agree.
Okay. The historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for the crucifixion.
I'm sure you have more data and information, but that's where my guess would be that's not true.
Okay. So when the Gospel of Matthew says that he was crucified, that's an evidence he was crucified. But when it says he resurrected, is that an evidence that he resurrected?
So I guess is the only evidence that he was crucified in Matthew? I thought there was
I'm just trying to see if you're giving the same credence of what is considered evidence. If the Gospel of Matthew says that Jesus Christ is crucified, is that evidence that he was crucified?
So that is a certain level of evidence, but
I'm not asking if it's true. I'm just asking if it's evidence.
It is evidence, but wasn't your next question, is the evidence that he resurrected the same level?
No, hold on. I'm not saying it's the same level at all, right? So please don't try to, there's a habit that people get into, is that it's called poisoning the well, where you try to interpret what I'm going to say and argue that rather than just kind of hearing it. So
could you re-say exactly what you said then? Because I thought you did say.
Well, hold on. I still haven't landed this plane. So before I repeat it, let me land this one. All right. So you say that the Gospel of Matthew saying that Jesus Christ is crucified is a piece of evidence that he was crucified. Yes?
Yes.
Then the Gospel of Matthew saying that Jesus Christ resurrected also is a piece of evidence that he resurrected. Yes?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So my argument is the historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for the crucifixion. What I'm saying is there's just as many data points in history that says he resurrected as there is that he was crucified.
Okay, so, and I could just be wrong here, so let me know if that's the case. I was under the impression that non-Christian sources also provided evidence of the crucifixion, but did not similarly have that evidence for the resurrection. So I would consider that the evidence of the crucifixion to be stronger because it's supported by kind of non-biased sources. So it's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so non-Christian source, Tacitus, says that Jesus Christ was worshipped as if he was God. If Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead, is that not what you would expect to see?
I maybe would expect that, but I still think that's low. That's a lower bar of evidence than.
I'm just asking if you would expect to see that. If Jesus Christ resurrected the dead, would you not expect to see Tacitus writing about how people worship him like God?
I would say I'd expect that regardless of whether or not he actually resurrected from the dead.
Why would you expect that if he didn't resurrect from the dead?
I think it's possible. I think people definitely believe he resurrected, whether he did
that's
or
not the question. I'm not asking if people believe it, whether or not he resurrected. I'm just saying, if he did resurrect, would you not expect to see people worshiping him like he's God?
I don't think that actually would change it for me. I think people would worship him as God, whether or not.
That's again not what I'm saying. So please pay attention. If he resurrected, would you not expect to see people worship him as if he was God?
Okay, yes, you're right. I would expect that.
Phenomenal. Cool. Pliny the Younger talks about how Jesus, how he executes Christians for committing cannibalism, which is the Holy Eucharist, the actual presence and blood of Christ. Would you
Right.
not expect to see that also happening if he resurrected?
Sorry, could you say that one more time? I'm really trying not to like jump to conclusions or anything.
Pliny the Younger executed
Mhm.
Christians for doing the Eucharist, which is the belief that his actual body and blood substantiates itself in wine and bread, right? Which is a miraculous event.
Okay.
Was that not something that you would actually also expect to see if he resurrected?
Sure, I would expect to see it, sure.
Cool. Paul was beheaded for saying that Jesus Christ resurrected. Is that not what
Okay.
you would expect to see if he resurrected?
So I think there's kind of two options. Either he did resurrect or did not. And I think
Right,
all of
but
these
hold
examples, I
on,
could
hold
see
on. We'll get there.
in
You
either case.
just because,
Okay.
yeah, it's just what you would expect to see if he resurrected. That's all, right? Would you expect to see that?
Sure. I would say it's not evidence he resurrected, but if he did resurrect, I would expect to see that, yes.
Okay. Josephus says that James was thrown out of a window and beaten with clubs. James was the brother of Jesus. They were going around preaching the gospel. He was unalived. Would this also be something you would expect to see, considering that
Sure.
it says that
I
James
think
was
I'll
not?
agree to all of these types of examples. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll
So
generally
then
agree.
you're stating that there are some extra outside sources that back up evidence for resurrection.
No, because that was kind of my rebuttal to each of those examples. I think all of these could happen whether or not he resurrected. So these actually don't really tell me anything about the likelihood of him resurrecting.
I agree, but it's still a piece of evidence of a resurrection because this is what you would expect to see considering that hypothesis.
I don't think so because I could see this.
Well, then you wouldn't expect to see
whether
it.
he did.
If it's not evidence for that worldview, then you wouldn't expect to see it. Evidence doesn't lead to the conclusion that something is true.
Okay.
It's just a piece of evidence.
But I would expect to see all of these same things if I knew for sure he did not resurrect, but wanted people to think he resurrected.
Sure. So it'd also be an evidence towards that.
Okay. So yeah, I guess this doesn't seem convincing to me one way or the other. Like all of this seems very plausible whether he did or did not resurrect.
Right, but then you'd still have to agree with premise 2, or the historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for the crucifixion.
I don't know if that follows.
We just went through the evidence. You just agreed to it 2 seconds ago.
But now we're saying, is the evidence on an equal level? And that's where I would disagree. So I agree that there is some evidence that exists, but I think it's on a much weaker
I'm not
level.
saying it's convincing, right? That's where, like, here's the problem.
But you're
Everybody
saying it's
tries
on
to,
the same
hold on. Everybody tries to predict where I'm going, and you're going to disagree with premise 3, and that's where we should disagree, because that's actually what you're disagreeing with here. But you don't want to admit to premise 2 because you think I'm trying to trap you. I'm not trying to trap you, I promise you. I expect you to disagree
Oh no,
with this premise.
I don't think you are. I think you're being fair. I don't think you're trying to trap me. I just genuinely don't agree with premise 2. I don't think that reasonably follows.
We have sources that say Jesus Christ resurrected that don't say he crucified. We have sources that say he was crucified that don't say he resurrected, right? It's uncomparable. So for example, 1 Corinthians 15:3 says that he resurrected, also says that he's crucified. 4 Gospels say that he was crucified and resurrected. We have the absence with Pliny, Tacitus, and Josephus that I also told you. We have a couple other sources that also say he was just crucified, right? So it says he was crucified, but then we have those same sources saying those, like Pliny, Pliny and Josephus saying that they are worshiping Christ as if he was God, which is also what you'd expect to see. We have 3 people who went to their death on the idea that he resurrected from the dead. This would be James, Peter, and Paul that we can confirm in history that they actually died believing that he resurrected from the dead. So again, it seems to be a comparison to the two. They on comparable levels. You might say that the resurrection may be slightly weaker, but not significantly weaker that you just reject it. Again, what the thing here is the historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection is at least as strong as the evidence for his crucifixion. Again, why are we disregarding this?
Well, okay, tell me this, and this, I'm very open that I might be wrong about any of this, so definitely let me know. But is it fair to say that it's among maybe like the middle 95% of historians, it's not really contested that Jesus was crucified, but it is contested that he resurrected?
Yeah, it's contested because of the principle of analogy. Principle of analogy basically states that if we do not say it in a modern era, we have to reject it in history. They're not allowed to say he resurrected. And this is an absolute fact because majority of scholars are Christian. They believe he resurrected.
So majority of scholars are Christian?
Not scholars, but like biblical scholars are Christian. Not all of them. Obviously, there's atheists and agnostic and Mormons, but
but that seems like a biased sample size because I could say the majority of historians don't believe he resurrected.
the most majority of so biblical studies and historical studies are two different things.
Right. So you're saying of the people who are Christians, they generally believe the evidence. Of the people who are
historians who focus on the Bible are biblical scholars. Like historians don't focus on all of history all over the place. So again, and just stating that it's bias, right? Because your original claim is that majority of scholarship all says that he was crucified. They don't say that he resurrected. That's in contention, and that's because of the principle of analogy. Because the majority of those scholars are all Christian, which means they believe he resurrected, but they're not allowed to say that he did because of that principle.
Wait, sorry, what's the principle one more time?
Principle of analogy is that anything in history that
is being making?
The principle of analogy is anything that isn't analogous to what happens to today's day in life, you have to reject. So we don't see people resurrect from the dead. So if I see something about resurrection from the dead, then we have to say it didn't happen. That's the principle of analogy.
I think that could be going on for some people, but I don't think
that's not going on for some people. That's a rule. They have to follow that rule. That's a literal rule that they have to follow. They're not allowed to say he resurrected. They're not allowed to make that claim.
I might be missing the point. Could you tie this back into the?
You're using a scholarly consensus, right? To say that they all agree that he resurrected, that he was crucified, but they don't all agree that he resurrected. That there's issues with there. The issue is they're not allowed to say he resurrected. But if you're going to talk about just personal beliefs, just real quick, Aviator came in $5, says, let's say that people who are convinced by the evidence are biased, I guess. That's true. So if you're going to say that the people who are convinced that he resurrected, like if we're looking at a consensus, the consensus is they believe he resurrected because the majority of them are Christians. They're just not allowed to make an official statement to declare that, yes, he resurrected. They're not allowed to do that.
I guess what makes you so confident that this general rule of analogy is a bad rule that we shouldn't follow if it's what historians generally follow?
It's completely irrelevant to what we were talking about, whether or not I find it's a good rule or a bad rule. I'm just stating you used an appeal to an authority, but those authorities, the majority believe that Jesus Christ resurrected.
But not all of them.
Okay. All right, man. I think I'm going to move on. But I appreciate your time. God bless. Yeah, we're going to call it there, Abby. Yeah, I saw that on your face. That was infuriating because it was his standard. And then when I called him out on his standard, he changed the standard. Right? He says the majority don't say. And I said, well, no, the majority do say. And then he says, but not all of them. Right? He seemed like a nice guy, but like that hurt at the end. That hurts at the end. All right, guys, we're going to do a little quick prayer and plug. And then if you want to hang out, we're going to hang out for about 5-10 more minutes over on YouTube. So links in the bio if you want to join there. Lord, thank you for this. Oh, sorry. Our Father is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for all that you've given. Thank you for these conversations, the good and bad ones. I ask that you bless everybody that's come in today, whether they've come against us or for us. They simply walk with them and draw them into the knowledge of who you are. Especially that young man that says he had that Jesus moment. Lord, I ask that you just walk with him as he walks into the path of being a new Christian, and you help him realize the truth of it. But even those that weren't so open, Lord, I know that you could change hearts and draw them in. So I ask that you do that as well. You're good in everything that you do. Be patient with us, give us grace, and forgive us sins. Give us opportunity to share the gospel, correct us if we're right, but correct those that come against, or correct us, sorry, if we're wrong. But if we're right, help us, and correct those that come against us if they're wrong, but if they're right, help us understand. I ask this in Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. All right, guys, you know what I got to do? I got to plug myself. If you want to follow me on all platforms. YouTube is my primary platform at Big John Steele. If you want to support me, support my ministry, you could do so on Patreon or through Super Chats. Just a heads up, as the projection is for this month, we're really low. It's not looking good right now for this month. So I ask that you guys pray about it and see if Lord puts it on your heart to support the ministry. If you can, obviously don't go crazy out for it. But if you guys do want to see these lives continue, these conversations continue, these videos continue, we cannot do it without your support. We just can't. I wish we could, but we just can't. So again, pray about it, because like I said, we're not on projection for this month to reach what we need to keep this ministry running. So with that being said, like I said, we're going to hang out over on YouTube for another 5-10 more minutes. So head over there if you want to keep going in the conversation. But if not, God bless, and we'll see you again on Monday with the old boy Nicarino. What do we think, guys? Good live, bad live? How was it? How we feeling? Do we want to see more of that? Do we want more chaos? Do you guys want me to let the crazy people talk a little bit more? What is it? It's summertime. Views go down in the summer along with super chats. Yes, it does. 100% I agree. But we do have certain projections we got to try to hit if we want to keep it going the way we've been keeping it going. But yeah, I just listen. I don't like saying it. It's the shittiest part about the job. It's the worst thing in the world is saying, hey, we need money, but it's the reality of it. There are no more call-ins. No, Abby's got to go grocery shopping. I got work to do. I got to shoot for some videos that we're going to be putting out next week. And yeah, prep for those. Basically, it's nonstop work. Once again, keep your religion to yourself. No. I tried to get up and debate Dean. I couldn't get up. I didn't really want to debate him. I just wanted some clarifying questions towards some of the statements he was making. What are we short? 4 digits, 3? What do you mean?
Oh, projections.
So we need to make minimum like $4,000 on this channel a month to keep it going the way it is. We're not looking to make that yet this month. Now, ultimately, we do need more than that if we want to keep it growing and do what we need to do. But I think that's the bare minimum. But do not send in $4,000, bro. That would be way too much. But yeah, anybody who can support through Patreon, watching the videos helps a lot too, because we make about $300 a month from just views right now. Yeah, so it's about that. I don't like to be completely transparent with everything that the channel makes, because I have just a belief of the right hand and left hand kind of viewpoint with Christianity. But yeah, those are like the rough projections of what we need to keep it going. $4,000 a month. I don't even make $2,000. Well, I have people I have to pay. I have to pay Abby for her work. I have to pay my editor for her work or for his work. Sorry. And that's what keeps the channel going. I don't take $4,000 home. That's not how much I make. So There's also taxes, and we also have strategists as well working with us.
And Bert.
Well, Bert will be covered no matter what.
Mm.
Don't forget to pay Bert.
Can you see him? Oh, no. He's being extra cute right
Have
now.
I read the New
There he is.
Testament? Yeah, of course I've read the New
Look how
Testament.
cute he is. Can't really see him, but.
Mm-hmm. Who wrote about who? Who wrote about who? Doesn't matter your subjective reasoning. If the universe is meaningless, then everything is meaningless. Your community, your relationship, your job, all empty. Somebody needs a hug. Let's get this man a hug. Let's pray he gets a hug. What's up, ALC? I left the church because doing an annulment, I felt ripping a bandage off the past. What? What?
You came in halfway through a conversation.
Oh, okay. Bert can get 4K a day. That'd be great. If we could pay Bert $4,000 a day, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. You need to get Andrew Wilson to raid my streams. That'd be great. I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, he does really late streams, so. He does really straight streams. Just don't respond properly. Good content, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ma'am? Okay. I understand. I came into your conversation wrong. Sorry. My bad. Yeah, you guys are having a different chat than see, it's not all about me. I mean, it should be. I'm the star of the show here. It should be all about me.
Alex says, thoughts on Enneagrams.
On what?
You don't know what an Enneagram is?
No.
I think those are fine. It's just like a personality description.
What
it's
is
like
it?
the 9 different personality types. And you like take a quiz and you are one.
Well, we did the Jordan Peterson thing.
Yeah, I think there's...
I'm in the 99th percentile for disagreeableness.
Are you? I don't remember.
Well, what was it? No, I was in the 99th percentile of something. I had high disagreeability, but what was the thing that I was like really upset about? Because I was really high.
It was like productivity or something. I don't remember.
No, but it was something like, I wish we had it again.
I do have it.
Yeah, I took the Jordan Peterson. We both took it because we took it before we got married to see how we would operate as a couple. Let's see if we were compatible. But I was really high in disagreeableness. I know that. And then I was really high in, I was super high in something. Like not many other people in the world were higher than me in this. And I was like, wow, or lower than me. I forget what it was, but it was something like that made me really feel bad about myself. Professional debater syndrome. I am a master, not a professional. I am a master debater. John's the humblest. Amen. Amen. All right, guys. Love you all. We're going to take off. We got some work to do. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all Monday when Nick is live with us. Have yourselves a great day.